toying with pickleball. Izzy the Bull in the China Shop. We'll talk about that when we come back. 866-WE-BE-BIG is our number. Our website, which you can now access, Rick and Bubba, spell out the word and.com.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Check 2. Hey, what's up, gang? Thanks for watching on YouTube. Our internet was messed up, so we are back now live. Should be good. Looks like y'all are starting to be able to, join us. Hey, thanks for watching on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like and hit the bell for notifications.
Learn from it.
Warts and all,
this thing of going back through history and cleaning it all up and trying to act like it never happened, that feels a little fascist to me. That feels USSR. That feels a little Nazi to me. I think history is what it is, and it's there in its state of a piece of history. And we can look at a piece of history and say, ooh, that's ugly. We can look at a piece of history and go, man, what were these people thinking? We can look at a piece of history and go, hey, I'm glad we're not that way anymore. Hey, we learned. We left that way of thinking. This is the way people weren't seen. This also explains why you see some of the things you see, children, because at one time people in our society were treated this way. Learn from that. That may explain.
You can make it a learning experience.
Some of the things you're seeing right now, because you look around and go, well, I don't understand why. Well, I'll tell you why, son or daughter. Let me take you back through history and the plight of black people in this country, the plight of the tribes that were here. Why just want to clean it all up and then act like it never happened? To me, that's the worst thing you can do.
When I think of the old Soviet Union, rewriting history was what one of their things
creepy.
that they were, and the fascists, the Nazis, were telling you who you could like and who you couldn't like, mind control.
Ooh.
And that, went out to even to the point where they were executing people,
Eric in Florida. Eric, go ahead. 30 seconds. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Hey, I just wanted to comment on, you guys were talking about the mask earlier.
Yeah.
I have a niece out in California that is going through lifeguard training, and she is being made to wear a neoprene mask in a pool full of chlorine.
What, a mask while she's in the water?
Yeah, while she's practicing rescue, she has to wear, a neoprene mask, so I guess it's waterproof.
Okay. Seems a little unnecessary. Wow. Travis.
Look, let's face it, nothing can live in that chlorine.
No. Travis in Missouri. Travis, go ahead.
Hey, Green Acres.
Thanks for the call, buddy. What's up?
That press secretary, Jen Psaki.
Yeah.
So she says she actually, blurted it out, we have a crisis at our border, and then she tries to retract that and said, nope, it's a challenge at the border.
Yeah.
I guess they think we're just like blind to this or we're stupid or something. I don't know. It aggravates me that we know what's going on, and they know we know, but they're just going to pretend like we don't know, and they blame it all on Trump. Well, the last administration,
No, you're right, and Bubba said it perfectly. Remember, the left, they're obsessed with words. See, we don't care whether you call the border situation a challenge or a crisis. Well, what are we going to do with all these people? That's what we'd like to talk about.
Yes.
But they lament over what to call it. I mean, words.
Oh, that means everything to them.
My goodness.
It is absolutely symbolism over substance.
We'll be back. More Rick and Bubba next.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Find a contact to try to possibly have him on a future podcast. But Bubba, it sounds like that the UFO folks out there are about to get.
Boy.
They're about to get a little meat.
If you love UFOs, you are living in the year that you are going to enjoy. Do you think the government will actually come clean about all this or not?
Well, here's the thing, Bubba, and I know that you can be pretty level-headed about this, but it may be that what the government gives us is all there is. Now I know there'll be they didn't tell us everything. I mean, it's just like
you're never gonna have that.
It's just like the Bigfoot people. They're never ever going to be told that Bigfoot doesn't exist. And the UFO people, if we get stuff but it's not really a lot, they'll demand there was more proof we're not getting. They'll never ever say the government came clean about UFOs. Never.
Well, and I've
no
told you,
way, no how, and probably not.
And I think I can talk more freely about it now. That I did know a gentleman who worked in the secret military complex of our country, worked at Area 51, I had access to him. I asked him a lot of questions. I said, don't tell me anything you got to kill me over. But I have questions about stuff, and he gave me a lot of answers a lot of times. And we know this now. It's public knowledge that when we were testing some of these cutting-edge vehicles, people saw them and reported them as UFOs, and they were not. They were just advanced military aircraft, like the stealth bomber, like the stealth fighter, and who knows what they're working on now, you know? So we know some of that took place. But then there's other things we don't know about.
But we're about to hear that there are Here we go, 35 minutes past the hour. Thank you so much for being with us today. A little technical difficulty here at the Big Boy, but we worked that out, and we're back, and we're up, and we're running on all platforms. So that's good. How does something like what just happened, Helms, affect the archive today?
It doesn't.
Doesn't? Okay.
It's washed up. It's done.
It's done. All right, so Bubba, let's
never have it.
You mentioned pickleball. Man. You mentioned this world of pickleball. It's the latest cult. It's taking over our society, and you have to be careful. Like I said, apparently they can be a little aggressive if they think that their term is talking smack, which I keep hearing. So what happened, Bubba?
Well, I wasn't talking any smack or anything.
No, but I'm just saying they think we are.
I spoke with Betty after the show yesterday, and she said, I'm going to a beginning pickleball class this afternoon. And I said, well, you know what? I may ride down and go to that. I enjoyed hitting the other Saturday a little bit. And accounting yesterday was the third time I've ever had a pickleball racket in my hand. Yeah, it was a beginner's class at the lake. And, we had two really, really nice ladies that taught this, and
going to the dark side.
They divided us up, and we got out and played a little bit, and it was fun. I mean, we rotated in and out, and broke a little sweat, had a little good time, and well, we got home, and Betty said, "Well, I hope you're happy."
And there it is.
And I was like, "What do you mean? Am I happy? What I don't understand."
Boy, that's a
and
terrible statement.
She said, "Well, you heard what the lady said, didn't you?" And I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" She said at the end of it, she appreciated everybody coming out, but she said, some of you are not beginners, and you probably don't need to be in this class because you hit the ball well enough that it probably intimidates some of the people who first started. And this is really not the class for you. You need to be in another class. And I said, yeah, I heard her say that, but I thought she was talking about that other guy we played against.
Of course.
Roman, he was really good. And I think
Roman.
that's who she was talking about.
Because he hits it pretty good.
And she said, no, she was talking about you. I said, she wasn't talking about me. I'm not, look at me. I'm not intimidating at all out there. What are you talking about? Are you crazy?
I mean, hey, do I have a couple of state championships and national championships? I do.
I said, no, when's the next practice?
So, are you kicked out?
Oh, we had a good time. It was a lot of fun.
But have you been kicked out?
Nobody was smack talking and all that.
Have you been kicked out?
No, I
have you been asked nicely,
so.
indirectly to leave?
She addressed some of the better players there at the end. I don't think I was one of them, so I don't know what she's talking about.
Did you hit it with some velocity?
Rick, it's kind of hard to hit the thing with velocity, honestly. I mean, it's a wiffle ball. It just won't go.
Right. I know your expertise in tennis was being the net gorilla, but if you can't get in the kitchen, how does that play?
I guess you have to be a catching gorilla.
Did you say
well,
something?
it's like doubles in tennis. You're going to win and lose points at the net or at the kitchen line, whatever. You come forward. You can't play back.
That's right.
You can't do that in tennis. You can't do that in double in pickleball.
That's speaking like an expert.
No, it's just the way it is.
It's fundamentals.
I'm going to tell you, the sun's going to rise from the east. It don't make me a great.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, you're not talking like a
physicist.
You're not talking like a beginner, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, it's just it's not that complicated.
Well, it is for a beginner.
Now,
now the scoring's a little confusing.
All right, how is the scoring?
I don't understand why they added this one little thing. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, well, it's just they count by ones. and they score what I call the old volleyball. Does volleyball still do that? Where
No,
you have
volleyball
to be
changed
serving.
it.
I thought they
I think
changed
volleyball
that.
changed.
Volleyball changed
Ping
that.
pong changed that too.
Did they?
Yeah,
They did.
I know volleyball did. I don't know why I know that.
You can score when you're not serving. So, but in pickleball, you have to be serving. So,
And y'all
if
both said
the-
they need to change that rule
if the
today.
other side gets the point, then they get the opportunity to serve and the opportunity to score. So you literally could play out 10 points and nobody scores anything.
Well, I don't like how you have to call the score out. So, like if Bubba
Well,
and
it's
I are
like tennis. You call yours first, the other, but then you say one or two.
that's the part that I wish they'd get rid of.
To let you know if you're the first or second server, because they let both people serve before you flip it over.
But we
to the
can't
other.
figure that out. Like, so if Bubba and I are playing, okay, and I
Slow down.
serve first, and we're up, let's say we're up 4-3,
and you have the serve.
and I'm serving, I would call out the score as 4-3-1.
I'm sorry?
Yes,
because
and
he's the
so-
first server on our team.
And then let's say we lose the next point, so it's still 4-3 because they can't score.
And then I serve.
He serves, it's 4-3-2.
Got it.
Yeah.
And
I
what
would
I
say
don't
4-3-2
understand
server.
is why did we have to add that rule? We can't figure out who served first. Like, come on, let's just drop that. I know I just served. Now it's Bubba's serve. We don't have to add the number. You see the frustration behind
Yeah, I
that?
don't like that
So
at
now
all.
there's an extra number. We got to do extra math.
I don't like
just
that. I don't like that at all.
It's
So-
a little.
And I'm trying to figure out
complicates
this.
it a little bit.
Like I'm studying this. Greg, can I borrow this real quick?
Sure.
So the other thing is when you start the match, both people don't serve on one side. Only one person does, and the other
Correct.
side.
And that's another.
So then instead of saying like 0-0-1, which you normally would say, it's 0-0 start or 0-0-2 because you're actually the second server because it's about to go to them.
Well, and can I ask this? Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
ask this? I'm trying to study this, and this is where we're digging in weeds with pickleball. If I can only score on my side as the server,
yeah.
I almost think based off what I've watched, and honestly, I've watched more recently than you think I would because I am trying to understand the game better. I almost think the returners have an advantage because if I'm serving, I have to serve it past the kitchen line.
Yeah, into the box.
And it has to bounce once.
Yep.
Returner hits it, and it has to bounce once on the other side.
You're correct. Yeah.
So if I'm the returners, I'm actually able to get to the kitchen first,
Right?
which gives me an advantage.
You can't serve and volley.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out this. Why can the server only score? The returner is that why? Because the returner has the advantage.
Must be. All right, so
I don't know the. See, I'm digging off in weeds and studying this way more than I need
Hit me
to.
with the bounce here. I got to bounce on the serve.
Yeah.
And I
And
got to bounce on the
bounce on the
first return.
return.
Yes. Yeah.
After that, no more about having to bounce?
No more having to bounce.
It's almost, I tell you why those two things I think are there. It's like restrictor plates. It
Right.
keeps people from being too aggressive.
Yeah.
Like you?
And
Yeah.
Holding you
that's-
back.
I'm look at I'm not all that fast. So
Well, as Betty said, I hope you're happy.
Swift.
No, we're talking about being able
I
to
can't
hit
hardly wait for the next one.
No, do you think Betty would wish you wouldn't go?
I don't know. I don't know.
You're right.
But you know how we ask these questions like, why can the server only score? Well, I think that's the answer. It's because the returner has the. I need somebody who's been playing
Maybe
long
it
enough
is.
to go,
Now-
Helms, that's why, because the returner actually has the
You know what
advantage.
makes sense, I guess.
And that kind of equals it
Does that
out.
help you a little bit? You've already paid a parking ticket and you figured out pickleball.
And here's the
just
other
studying it
thing.
and trying to figure it out.
Here's the other thing a little confusing. Like in tennis, the line is in. If the ball hits on the line, it is good.
Mhm.
In my mind, I have to see the court color between the ball for it to be out.
Yeah.
But the way the ball is, it could hit out, but the ball hang over the line and not touch it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when you're serving, the kitchen line, if it hits that line, is out. But if it hits the sidelines, it's in. So they want you to get it deep. They don't want you to dink it.
Right.
But if it's a let serve, you play it, as long as it makes it out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like they do in
Yeah.
Division I men's
Yeah.
tennis. So
I wish they'd get
there's
rid of
there's
that.
a few little rules that are different. It's going to take a little getting used to, but Yeah, it was fun yesterday. It was good to see everybody. I mean, you saw the picture. We had 25, 30 folks out there, and the ladies teaching it were very nice, very patient, and they were bringing everybody along, very slowly to understand the game. So it was fun, though.
Pickle. you know who you were? You know who you was, Greg? You may not remember this. You don't remember.
And what about putting your paddle on the fence for next up? See, I didn't know. That was all new to me. You know about that?
No.
Well, if you finish a game and there's people waiting, you're supposed to leave the court and let them play a game. And you put your paddles in the fence, and it's kind of like a line for next up. So
what if I just want to play for a couple hours and y'all just deal with it? And when I leave, y'all can come out here.
That's not proper pickle etiquette.
It's not like I'm sitting at a table and people are standing there by the hostess looking at me going, I wish you'd get up.
Yeah.
I get that, Rick, but you finished your meal.
I know.
And you took as much time as you wanted to eat that meal.
Well, I guess it depends
you're paying
on what kind of game are you playing. Are you just playing to 9 or 11 or 15? Or are you playing 2 out of 3 or what?
Well, I guess I'd play to 100 so I could stay out there as long as I want to. Hey, we'll let you have this when we're done.
Century pickleball. We're playing to 100. 66, 56, 2.
I didn't know about the paddle thing.
Yeah. No, well, it's...
Did you know about starting? Who starts?
What do you mean?
Who is the first server?
I don't think so.
In tennis, we flip for it, basically. We use a tennis racket and flip for it. But each home court has its own rule about who serves first.
I did not know that.
So at our particular facility, it's whoever's back is to the clubhouse on the right side on whatever court you're on. That's the person that serves first. See, they're all different local rules. Now, that's what I was telling you. I was just soaking it in, and I'm just telling y'all what I was learning.
No, I love it. I love being educated on this. I'm just going to flip a coin. That's my local rule.
It
kind of works for the French Open. I think it'll work for us.
She said every facility has their own little rule about who serves first.
Yeah.
So you got to know the local rule.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a passive-aggressive game for our passive-aggressive society.
Yeah.
Even the coach wouldn't tell Bubba he shouldn't be there. He's just trying to suggest it. We'll be back.
Rick and Bubba.
That we have not been able to identify.
Now, you remember several years ago, the government decided that the FBI, and it's back after 9/11, the CIA and the FBI were both great investigative bodies. One, it was supposed to be international. One, it was supposed to be domestic. But at times, they were not sharing information. They wanted, and at one point, they wanted a wall between them, which makes absolutely no sense. So we came up, as only the government will do, to put in a new office and budget to take care of this. And it was called the Director of National Intelligence, DNI. So the DNI director was over the CIA and over the FBI. He was the go-between. He headed up everything. NSA, all that stuff all came to his office. Well, the DNI director under Donald Trump, his name was Radcliffe, John Radcliffe.
That's also D.B. Cooper's name.
I thought he really did a good job. I thought he was a good hire. We know some people that worked in his office. They were very efficient in what they did. They put out, it was an agreement based on some lawsuits and other things, and it finally came about. Congress with this, President Trump was big in this too, that they wanted the government, the secret services that we have, to come clean with the American people about what they knew about unidentified flying objects.
You saying?
And what they said is, we want to know what you knew and when you knew it.
Yep, that's it.
So they set a deadline of June the 1st of this year to come clean on all this. So Radcliffe is now out of office. He's been doing some interviews, and that deadline is coming up. The Pentagon and intelligence agencies must release a report to the public on June the 1st. Now, Radcliffe has said that there were more sightings and more run-ins with UFOs than we have previously known about. He said the observations that they have documented were made by Navy and Air Force pilots. So these are highly trained people who are up in the air flying some of the top aircraft we have, and we're relying on their firsthand experience for this. He said not only that, but said there also is a record of multiple sensors. And he said many of these encounters have no obvious explanation. So in other words, we have not only the pilot's firsthand account, but we also have radar data from the planes, from the ground, satellites. And he said, quite frankly, there's some things that we can't explain that we have seen over the years. One, he mentioned several things. UFOs that appeared to go from standing still to supersonic speeds without creating a sonic boom. When they say this, though, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a little green man or a little gray man.
Right.
It's just they don't know what it is. Now, Rick Ratcliffe also has said publicly when he was in office that he thought it was in the public interest that more of this information be made available. Yeah. So, I mean, if in UFO circles, this guy is a hero. I mean, they may put a statue up to him out in Roswell somewhere. You know?
What is he trying to tell us, Bill?
Well, he's saying a lot of these things have already been declassified, and he said under our guidance that we were under, more and more will be declassified for this big report coming out June the 1st. He said when we talk about sightings, we're talking about objects that have been seen by Navy and Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain.
So stories, you know, our society is, but now you also. To the top of the hour, Rick and Bubba, we're back. Thank you for being with us. BuyRaycon.com/big box. It's time right now. Look, I know you didn't think these everyday earbuds could get better, but they have. They continue to improve these, and the audience loves these Raycons. You still have the stuff that we already loved, the optimized gel tips, so you get a good fit. They won't fall out even if you're trying to do just a little bit better. It's got the 3 customizable sound styles, but now you also get active noise cancellation, ergonomic design, multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. Raycon's new everyday earbuds are available in a variety of vibrant new colors too. So if you've been wanting to check them out or buy a pair for the kids, the grandkids, family member for a birthday, even a colleague at work, there really there hasn't been a better time. A 30-day happiness guarantee. You got nothing to lose. And not only are they about half the price of the audio brands that are in the same premium category. I mean, if you go apples to apples, about half the price. Now we're going to get you an additional 15% off, and we're going to get you free shipping. I don't know what else we got to do to get you in these everyday earbuds from BuyRaycon.com. So go to BuyRaycon.com to get the 15% off. You want to do /BigBox, BIGV as in voice, OX. 15% off and free shipping. That link's also available for you at rickandbubba.com under the sponsors. So, Bubba, we do have an update on a story that we brought you yesterday. So,
news update. It's a Rick and Bubba
update.
News update. It's a Rick and Bubba news update. It's a Rick and Bubba news update.
Bubba, just had somebody send me, there's a picture now, strangely, at the pickleball court where you were yesterday, and it has a picture of you with a line through it.
Hey, it's a great
Yes,
game. We
it is.
enjoyed it.
Well,
It was fun to play with everybody.
Maybe you should go
yesterday.
to the next level up. You know,
Yeah,
Greg, you know who Bubba is. So Greg and I, when we were in first through third grade, we attended a private school.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, first through third grade, because we just moved from Birmingham, and our parents put us in a Christian private school. Well, in fourth grade, we moved to the public school. Well, when I went into the fourth grade class, unbeknownst to me, they were going to learn their multiplication tables, but at the private school, I'd already learned 1 through 12 in the third grade. So I was basically going to do third grade private school was fourth grade public school. And so I was way ahead of everybody. And now, unfortunately, I thought that would continue.
Yeah.
And it eventually caught up. But I remember when you walk into a class and they said, "Hey, kids, today we're going to learn our 1 through 6s," and you already know your 1 through 12s. You're in great shape. So I just want you to be cognizant of that and not make people feel like you don't demoralize beginners.
Yeah, don't
Okay.
talk down.
Yeah, just hit it back.
Nobody's
to him,
demoralizing anybody. I am a beginner. It's the only third time I've had one of those paddles in my hand.
And the first time didn't count because I had to put you in the Jeep.
That
When it was over.
that only lasted about a minute and 20
It
seconds.
really did.
Oh, Bubba, you've overcome that, so you're already in the win column.
Mm.
Bubba,
My goal is just not to be hurt.
there you go. Did you remember yesterday when Alex Jones was crying?
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was really
Crazy.
strange.
Why is Alex crying?
And he was because he just got dogged on. And he kept saying they're going to come padlock his studios. He's got a really nice studio. But a judge has rejected calls to shut down Alex Jones' InfoWars amid bankruptcy dispute days after I love this, confirmed conspiracy theories. He's confirmed? I mean, so what
It is confirmed.
What does
Rick.
that mean?
I guess because what he said about Sandy Hook, it turned out what he was saying was absolutely not true, I guess.
Yeah.
And he claimed that feds were out to get him in a hysterical rant. So a U.S. bankruptcy judge, Christopher Lopez, ruled Monday in Houston, I guess that's where he's located, that he will halt a plan that would see Jones reorganize his firm. And it says the families that are after him are looking, and y'all mentioned this yesterday, to cash in on the $1.5 billion lawsuit verdict against him. Ooh, Bubba, he's got a ruling against him
Well, look, I'm not a huge fan of what
Sure.
he does and the level he takes it to. The Sandy Hook thing was ridiculous, and but I still, as ridiculous as it was, I don't think that 1.5 billion is a fair judgment on that either.
Right.
I mean, who looks at that and goes, "Yeah, that's good."
Yeah.
So
that's going to happen.
I don't know how
I mean, you might as well made it 10 billion.
Yeah,
Why
what's the-
not?
yeah, what's
He
the
can't
difference?
pay any of that.
So what does this mean, Bubba, that it says the judge delivered the ruling in Houston after lawyers for the families filed an emergency motion the day before? So they want their money, and the judge is saying, look, give him a chance to reorganize. Yeah. The motion was meant to halt a plan that would allow him to reorganize, and the judge is saying, no, I'm going to let him reorganize before y'all go in and destroy him.
Yeah, I think
They wanted to go now, and he's kind of saying,
well, if you lock the doors to his building and cut the lights off, he's never going to give you a dime.
Well, that's true.
You know,
That's
and
true.
I guess the judge is actually saying if you want to collect some of this, you're going to have to let him make some money to collect.
there you go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. So anyway, I don't know if that, if I will say this, when people are concerned about, I'm trying to be nice about this. When people are concerned about where you are and your stability, that rant didn't. Well, that looked. It didn't look like it that everything was firing.
Now,
Every cylinder was being
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
the judge has basically only limited this for 2 weeks. It looks like.
Okay.
It says while he decides
Right.
if his assets should be liquidated. Now, again, and I don't know the details of this, and I'm not an expert, but I would guess more than likely Alex Jones does not own the building that he's doing this in. It's probably leased. You can't liquidate that. And he's probably got a little bit of TV equipment there, but it's not going to get anywhere close to this judgment.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to shut him completely down.
Right.
And again, what he was claiming with them, I thought was ridiculous. That it was all a government staged event.
Yeah.
And I understand them not being happy about it. I don't know on what green earth a $1.5 billion judgment was the way to rectify that.
Yeah. When you say, well, you can't put a price on people's lives, apparently they tried to.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Top of the hour. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back. More Rick and Bubba coming up. The number 866 We Be Big.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
All right. So, anybody heard about this election coming in November? Anybody think that America's turned upside down right now? Wow. Look, things. Do you think, Bubba, there's a chance that things could get even crazier before November? I'm going to say yes on that one. I'm going to give a yes.
Rick, the jury is out, but
yes.
hey, all cards on the table. Who knows?
So, we've got all kinds of things going on with the left. Some of the things, we've got the border wide open. We've got chants from the river to the sea. We got Hunter Biden's laptop. We got Trump maybe going to jail. Trying to figure out where the truth is right now. You may be over here going, I don't know who's telling the truth. If I watch one channel, they say this, another channel says that. Now they're trying to keep me from hearing things from certain people. Now more than ever, Blaze Media, the value's never been higher. For you to be able to hear unencumbered news and opinion coming directly to you, cutting out the middleman and all these people that may be trying to censor or decide what you and I are allowed to see and hear. So why don't you ensure that you don't have that problem and become a subscriber? You get an hour of this show plus all the other great programming, some incredible documentaries. BlazeTV.com. Subscribe today. Use the promo code Bubba. Get $20 off your subscription. That's BlazeTV.com to get $20 off. Put in the code Bubba. Do this today. Turning, and a lot of people have talked about it. It's just we should use the word for some of you out there, and don't read more into it than what we're saying, because you know that we have a biblical worldview, and that would include on creation. But there seems to be we are devolving in microevolution as human beings and becoming more and more animal-like, and you can see examples of that everywhere. We don't value human life in any way, shape, or form. And, things have always been rowdy. It's spring break. You get, high school and college kids are going to spring break, and they'll get rowdy, and that's not anything new. But I will say some of the things in our spring break update today that look, unfortunately new, is I don't recall SWAT ever having to be called in to spring break. Miami Beach spring breakers hit with extended curfew after the SWAT team was forced to break up a rowdy crowd. So they had to bring in the SWAT team. And,
SWAT team.
In the past, we had some of the horrific things that went on with spring break involving rape. If you remember when we had those horrible stories out of Panama City not too many years ago, and we could not believe that such animalistic behavior would take place. And so now in Miami, they say this has just turned into an impossible situation of violence and rowdiness. And as I said, SWAT had to set up a perimeter to handle a spring break mob in Miami.
And I think you'll agree on this. Look, we've all seen or been part of some type of something that went on at a spring break, and you're like, wow, this is crazy. I think the difference, I can just say this from the 80s, Bubba, which I know you love that decade, the late 80s.
You mean the greatest decade mankind has ever seen?
Right.
That one?
Yeah. Right.
That one that set the high water mark for everything?
Yeah. Is that when law enforcement did come, as bad as it was, they got our attention and we listened. Nowadays, sadly, the police pull up onto something like this and nobody pays them any attention. They don't respect them. And that's just sad. That's sad to say, but it just seems like where we are. So now, guess what they're having to do? Well, now we got to have SWAT. We got to have SWAT. we got to have more force in here because nobody is giving us any attention. They're not respecting our authority.
Rick, I know COVID is on the run, but this looks like a super spreader.
Boy,
event.
it does. It really does. So the city commissioners in Miami had to, and they voted unanimous, they had to call an emergency meeting on Sunday to extend a curfew because they said it was getting so out of hand. Look at the spring breakers, that crowd right there.
The pictures are just unbelievable.
It's mind-blowing. Now we go over to Panama City, Florida, also part of spring break, and a sad story here. An unidentified man they think was in his mid-20s. And I hope some of you are listening. This is the problem of losing your faculties here. He attempted to parachute from a 14th floor balcony at the Sunrise Beach Resort, by the way, in Panama City Beach, and the parachute did not do what was needed. Not enough time,
It's
I
not
guess.
real high.
That's not all that high, and he is dead.
That is sad.
Yeah. So you shouldn't try to parachute
No.
from the 14th floor of the resort there, and I don't know if this is tied to spring break or not, but it is that time of year, so we don't know. Not clear if it was an out-of-state resident that was visiting, but it says this was part of the spring break because it is a popular spring break destination. Mm-hmm. And
There's a lot of daredevils out there that do these base jumps and all this, but 14 floors is not really. I mean, most of them that jump off these towers are much higher than that. That's 14 floors is not that high when you really look at opening up a parachute.
Yeah, he leaped. He took the leap. Said the chute never even opened in time. It did not open in time. Here we go, 6 minutes past the hour. Thank you for being with us. We'll get to some of your phone calls coming up on the program. Probably do that this hour, so be paying attention for that. Bubba, you said you got an email from somebody from your discussion about your beginner's pickleball class you attended?
Well, we were talking about scoring, and I got an email here from Brandon Rowling. He says, look up rally scoring. If someone hasn't emailed you already, you play to 21 in points. You get a point after every rally. Much better way to play.
I agree with that. That sounds like a
like
lot.
it. I like it a lot.
I like that, and I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
Thank you, Brandon.
Bubba, we have yet another update.
It's a Rick and Bubba news.
Another one.
It's a Rick and Bubba news. News update. It's a Rick and Bubba news. News update. It's a Rick and Bubba news. News update.
Bubba, last week we brought you the story of Corey Harris, 44, and Judge Cedric Simpson.
Yes.
If you recall, this man was supposed to, because he had a suspended driver's license, make his court appearance via Zoom. When Corey came on the Zoom, the judge and everybody in the courtroom noticed he was driving, and he acknowledged that he was driving, and the judge wanted to know why he was driving with a suspended driver's license, and told the bailiff, I think it was, that they would be sending law enforcement for him to park the automobile, and that he was likely going to jail. And you remember Corey going, "Oh man," and the judge had the look on his face like, "What in the world are we doing?"
And his lawyer said, "Yeah, he's got a suspended license, and clearly he was driving."
Yep. Well, apparently, now I don't know why, and you said this in the break, I agree with this, I don't know why he didn't start defending himself. The story explains why the judge and the lawyer may not have been defending him, because it said that the order to halt his license was rescinded in 2022, and it was never forwarded to the necessary authorities, and records now, after everybody looked, actually support his claim, saying, I didn't have a suspended driver's license. And why I keep being charged with this, I don't know, because this was resolved back in 2022. And
I would have been saying, "Excuse me, Judge, you need to know my license is not."
I don't know
this
why.
Is not.
I don't know why he didn't say that. But a news station here that is now breaking this story in Detroit, 7 News Detroit, said they themselves went to look at the records, which Shouldn't the court be able to do that?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
if the news station can, and they said that unfortunately this development comes after Harris spent 2 days in jail thanks to the irate judge Cedric Simpson. And of course, it continues to go viral. And the driver says, I'm out there. Everybody, like Rick and Bubba, are playing my video, and y'all don't have the facts right in this viral video. And some are asking, does the court and the judge owe him an apology? I would say the apology is owed by whoever did not get the records to where they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because the judge is only going by what he's got.
Yeah, I don't think he deserves.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's on the judge,
No,
really.
no.
So
He should have just said, Your Honor, I need to bring.
something's wrong here.
Yeah, I just heads up here. Just
This information's
Be
incorrect.
respectful about the way he did it, and he seems like a gentleman that would.
Shouldn't his lawyer have handled that though, or known
You would
that?
think so.
You would think so. But to y'all's point, he said it's just very embarrassing.
My God,
He
look
said-
at
he
this.
And he's
said,
right about that.
I'm
It
heavily
is.
involved with my church. He said my name, the way it's been thrown around, because this went
I'm a little
viral.
out of
It's all-
control.
Better
And I
known as
love
setting
him.
up my lawsuit.
I love him in the movies, Cedric the Entertainer.
Absolutely.
Or Bismarcky.
Yeah.
Or the funny guy from the Miller Lite commercial.
Yeah, that guy
Okay.
went on in. And he was a
He
good
died, didn't he? God bless him.
Did he?
You know who else died today, Greg?
one. Who's that?
Well, not today, but has died. Larry Allen,
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dallas Cowboy
Former
legend.
cowboy.
Golly.
Young, on vacation. Went on in.
52 years old, Bubba in Mexico, enjoying himself, and died.
Well, that seems odd to die
does.
at that age. Was there complications? or
Bubba, you and I
what-
both said that 52 is the one you have to get
Well,
over.
Larry's
there's a
big-
hump there.
Larry's a
Yeah,
big
he's,
fella.
yeah, he's a big guy.
I don't know what he looked like now, but he's
But I mean, does it
pictures
say?
of him
Is there
playing.
any? I mean, was he
I'm looking to see if they have cause of death
a
in
bad
here.
taco or something? I mean,
It just says he died in Mexico
Shark attack?
Sudden.
while on vacation.
It's got heart written all over it.
Suddenly at 52 does sound like heart. We always think that. And of course, I don't know how he took care of himself after football, but if he's a man of weight, everybody thinks it's a heart attack immediately.
sure, sure.
And usually it's right. That's why people say that.
yeah, there's a reason.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
It does not say, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. I don't know what kind of human being Larry Allen is. I'm not. Don't have any idea. But I'll tell you, he was a fantastic football player.
Yeah, he was.
Let me tell you, you
That
did not
teams-
want
those
to. You
teams were
did
good.
not want to line up across Larry Allen from Larry Allen. You know these people that go into this thing about Barry Sanders being superior to Emmitt Smith, and one of the things they say, what if Barry Sanders could have run behind that offensive line
Yeah.
that Dallas had in the '90s?
Yeah. Speaking of Emmett, he started talking about it yesterday and got pretty emotional, their relationship, but that's sad.
Yeah,
Well, and think about Walter Payton, what he ran behind for many years.
yeah.
He still
they were
led
horrible.
one of the all-time leading rushers, and he played on horrible teams.
And see, not only that, they had quarterbacks that were no threat to throw.
Exactly. Right.
So they would stack the box against them. They
you
never
think Vince
had.
Evans was a threat.
No,
No, I mean, like with Walter
No,
Payton, he
I'm
had
being serious.
Bobby Douglas and all those guys.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
was no threat.
No, I when you start this conversation, it's a terrible conversation to have. Individual performance in football is it's difficult because it's such a team sport.
Yeah.
Unlike pickleball, and so when you go there, I always tend to elevate for the reasons both of you just made. Walter Payton to the 1 slot, Barry Sanders to the 2 slot. Then after that, I could throw a bunch of people in that 3 slot, but I would be fine with him if that'd be okay.
To me, it's just hard to say this guy was the ultimate rusher. I mean, there's 5 or 6 of them I'd take on any given day. Both of those are in it, of course. I wouldn't leave Eric Dickerson out of any.
But I'm gonna tell y'all, as far as I can make
Talking about
something,
galloping down the field.
as far as I can make something happen when nothing's there, it's hard to put anybody ahead of Barry Wayne Sanders.
That's a fact.
Let me tell you, that's something good. His cuts and the things he could do with his body were unbelievable.
It's like it's not real.
And then Walter Payton was just so athletic. He was almost like watching a thoroughbred horse run.
He was good.
He churned those knees and never got hurt.
Well, hey, speaking of that, Earl Campbell, you gonna leave him out of that?
Well,
Larry Zonka.
Earl Campbell and
Both have similar styles.
but Earl Campbell, he threw his body at people like a truck, and eventually broke his body down.
it did. Remember, it showed him with his cane, and man,
But,
he'd pick him knees
And
up.
the small time he was there, Bo was pretty impressive
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Oh, of
and
course.
He, and he
Should've
wasn't
been
on
the
a very
best.
good team either.
Of course.
No, you're
Bubba,
right. And he was playing part time.
Nobody was fearing Jay Schrader to throw deep.
No.
No.
Bubba, as a Vikings fan, are you excited?
Yeah, you
About-
got a new deal
about
today.
Justin?
Oh no, that'll. Nah.
Ain't nobody throw it to him.
He'll make a few catches.
True. He'll make a few
Why are you
catches.
upset about this?
I'm not upset. That's great. I'm glad they got. I think he's probably the best receiver in the NFL. If not, he's one of the top 3. And
He said he's going to miss Kirk Cousins.
that's good, but they got other problems. So
We're talking about Viking star Justin Jefferson. He has signed a 4-year, $140 million contract extension and is the highest paid non-QB in the NFL, Bubba.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
And that probably means injuries coming his way. I mean,
Game 1.
yeah. He won't play 6 games next year. Let's be honest. We know how this is going down. We've seen it before.
All right, America, we've thrown a few things out there we can chat about. You can bring up stuff, too. 866-WE-BE-BIG. We'll chat with you. All 10 lines are available. The real Greg Burgess heads to the phones.
There he goes.
And we'll talk with you when the Rick and Bubba show continues right after this.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
It's the distance.
Yeah.
Sadly, that is going to have to. And I mean, I'm serious about this. That's going to be added to the list in the elevator of rules when you're going up. Don't attempt to parachute from the balcony.
We will see in a hotel.
That's sad.
We will get into an elevator, and it will say, please, if you do not parachute from your balcony. Now, I already had that figured.
Yeah.
And certainly don't want to be insensitive to whoever this
That's
person belongs to.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that, going to a memorial service yesterday when people were telling stories about the person, that you cut up and have fun, especially if they're redeemed and you can actually celebrate. But I just have to say that if that were to happen to one of us, and God forbid, there would be moments there, because you got the people that call you, hey man, so what happened to Greg? Did he? Yeah. Well, he was trying to parachute from the balcony of a resort.
Yeah, I know she went straight
City.
to Greg.
Yeah,
On that. Yeah.
And there would be a moment, that's much different than some of the things that are tragic that you could say, in that conversation, and that one comes at you differently than some others. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say that? Because that's
true.
true.
I don't even think Greg would try something that ridiculous.
No.
If I ever do that,
Back 84, I thought about it.
Yeah.
Craig. Well, you would think there would.
He did jump out a window onto a trampoline.
You can call me exactly what it is if I do something that stupid.
But Rick, you talked him into that one.
Well, but still, when he jumped out of a second floor window onto a trampoline, yes, he was talked into it, but I didn't push him out.
Right.
That's important to note.
That's a great defense.
Mm-hmm. That is important to note.
You would think that somebody, sadly, with this story, would have been an expert that said, "Let's not try that."
You ever tried to talk to somebody? Because I'm going to tell you, I don't know what happened here. The story does not have a lot of detail, but this has that look of everybody was all in. There wasn't There wasn't anybody trying to talk about it. They were all thinking this is awesome.
And I'm going to add possible, mental state not clear via drugs or alcohol.
Could be.
I'll put a chip on that one.
Legitimate guess.
Looks like you need several hundred feet.
Yeah, you do. 14 floors won't do it. Not a parachute.
I think you need at least 400, 600, something like that.
Yeah.
That's minimum.
And I know this.
How many
is,
floors is that?
I don't know.
Did he have?
Says the chute did not open in time, is what it says. So
Well,
he
He
must
didn't pull
It
it
has
in
to
time, or-
open. It has to catch air.
Yeah.
It has to expand. It has to break the speed. I mean, that takes time.
If he pulled it before he jumped, he wouldn't have had time.
Now, this is probably
There
one of
we
those
go.
where they jump and it's in your arms and you
throw
just
it.
throw it.
I go back to somebody knowing what's going on. So we didn't have an experienced jumper that said that's not what I would do.
Well, let's talk about this. He has a parachute. How's he get a parachute?
You would
So is
think
this a
he's in-
base jumper type deal?
Probably. I mean, that's basically what this would be. Is a base jump.
Well, whatever the situation, chute did not do its job. As Paul Harvey would say, spring breaker attempts to parachute from 14th floor window. And you know what it would say? Then he would say after that, he was 25. 24 or whatever. You know, how he would never say somebody died. He would just give you their age, and you knew the end of it.
Yeah.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Rick and Bubba's show. Thanks for being with us today. All right, so Speedy, I'm glad you went to the game.
Yeah.
It was the right thing to do,
Not a
and
problem.
basically stayed in the press box because it was cold.
Yeah. All of game one, I stayed up in the press box, and they were. I probably would have stayed for game two, but they said, "Okay, we're going to take a break." And
Okay, you've been here long enough.
Which
Yeah.
meant you overstayed.
I think I did.
He
Were
overstayed.
you on
well.
the whole first game broadcast?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, there's JC. That was me sending y'all a location
saw
check
that.
because y'all had forgotten. Because Rick, I'd asked you.
Yeah, I told you I forget.
Yeah, if you were going to remember what I was doing, you said no. I'm a forget immediately.
So has Matt sent you any clips or do we
Not
know how to
yet,
get audio
not
of it?
yet, and I hope that there's not any.
I kinda wanna hear it.
But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I forgot about you quicker than I even thought it would.
Yeah, I thought so.
Right,
I
yeah,
thought so. Yeah,
But I had
that's why that was the only reason for the
had
picture
stuff I had
because
to-
I knew that you were getting your
I had a
physical and all that.
Yeah, you think I
knew
was
it.
thinking about you doing
No, not at all. But little did I don't know if I should even tell this or not. So when it comes to JC, so because of COVID and the way they do things, they play two there and then they host two, but they're within the same week, so that you can get that done and then move on to your next in conference opponent and everything. And so.
Phone calls are coming in at 866-WE-BE-BIG, but there's lines available for you, America. So come on, let's hear from you. What's on your mind today? Busy week coming up. Calvin Speedy Wilburn out and about. He'll be the hype man this Friday night. Birmingham, Alabama, the BJCC Legacy Arena, the Alabama State Games. Is this like a Olympic type deal?
Yeah, it's and I had no idea until I was asked, because this is the first time that they're going to use this portion of what I'm doing. And J.J. Pruitt, good friend of the show, works for the Fox
JJ,
affiliate
what's
in
going on,
Birmingham, was going to be there. He'll be the official MC, but it's the 41st Alabama State Games. It's a multi-sport Olympic-style event
Did you ever hear
that
this one?
welcomes athletes all over the state, and it'll be going on opening ceremonies Friday evening. I'm happy to be a part of it.
Well, I'm getting some email on it. They wanted to know if beer pong was an official event.
That would be no.
That's not there.
You know, I was looking this up because, well, of course, it all goes back to tennis with me. But, Bubba, I'm surprised you and I have not heard about this before, because this is like they do the 3-5s, 4-0s, 3. They have different divisions that any of us could play in as far as a level, a playing ability level. And what I want to know is, how do you qualify for it, or do you just sign up?
I'm shocked that it's gone on for 41 years, and I'm just now hearing about
Well,
it.
that's a good point. But like, I'm right here right now, and it looks like I can go register to play.
Yeah.
Are
to
you
participate.
serious?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is,
you can.
Is Bootsy Collins going to be there?
So
That was a different thing.
Oh, that was the World Games.
Yeah,
That's
that
right.
was
That's
the
the
World
World
It's
Games.
the World Games, buddy.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. So Speedy will be there working everybody into a frenzy coming up this Friday.
Yeah. They say the Legacy Arena it gets packed, so it's going to be folks all
What's
over.
in there?
Really?
What's in there? Do you know?
The opening ceremonies.
Oh, the ceremony
Yeah,
itself.
yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about.
So
an
have they
event.
always had it here in Birmingham?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, I
Where have I
remember.
been?
I remember when the boys were playing through travel ball. You could sign up in some of the travel ball tournaments, Helmsy, kind of like you're talking about, that were on this weekend, and they were part of the Alabama State Games, and they were always wanting us to go and walk as a team into the opening ceremonies and stuff.
like Braden and I could go play doubles together in this,
Yeah,
and both of us play singles.
right.
Never heard of it.
I neither.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
good. So I love the show. Bring stuff here that I never knew about. All right, phone calls coming in. Let's go to JR. JR, welcome to the show. Go ahead.
Morning, boys. How you all doing?
We're good. We're good.
Okay. Rick, a little bit of advice to you on your trip this weekend.
Yes.
Whatever you do, do not bring up pickleball, because I'm afraid for you. You may be sitting in the audience out there listening to your wife doing a sermon on marriage counseling.
Yeah, I'm not going to. No, this weekend in Missouri, there'll be no discussion of pickleball. I hope there's not a pickleball gang waiting on me, because apparently I've gotten on the bad side of the pickleball cult. So we will not be doing that this weekend.
You don't want to walk down any alleys near a pickleball court. I'll tell you what, buddy. You've been blacklisted.
Somebody may hit a wiffle ball at me really hard.
Right. You might take a wiffle ball upside the head.
Let's go to Denise in Alabama. Denise, go ahead. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Green Acres.
Thanks for the call, Denise. What's on your mind?
Yeah, just had a question. So if you could be a professional athlete for 1 week, who would it be? And, playing the game, who would it be and why? And I would be Larry Bird because he is the GOAT.
Okay, so we have to actually be a player that has played, and we get to enjoy their abilities for a week.
Yeah, so not current, but just in history of sports.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah. So at any time, boy, that's your first thought would be, because I'd rather do football than anything else. So I find myself going, if it's a fantasy setup and I can be whoever. I was never gifted enough to be a quarterback, but I bet it would be cool to be a really good one. So I guess I would be Tom Brady in his prime.
Right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Tom Brady walking into a Super Bowl is a pretty
good. It's kind of hard to beat, isn't it?
Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, Roger Federer.
I would take being Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
That's what I was about to say.
Playing the in the championship series in Chicago and having that intro back in the day.
Yeah.
What if you played against this woman this call because she's Larry Bird?
Bird.
Do you find it odd that a woman just called the show and says, "I wish I could be Larry Bird"?
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit.
All right, 866 We Be Big. Let's go to Claire in Alabama. Claire, welcome to Rick and Bubba. How are you?
Hi, it's me. I'm your former intern. You called me Sweet Tea.
Okay. Sweet Tea. Welcome back. How are you, former intern Sweet Tea?
Hi. I heard you guys were retiring, and I wanted to wish you guys a happy retirement.
So what are you doing these days? So what did your time in Rick and Bubba University do for you in life?
Well, what I'm doing now is I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Well,
that's a good job.
You talk one of the most important jobs on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm very happy
you didn't marry Chance, did you?
No, I did not marry him.
She was the one that we tried to set up with Chance.
Okay,
I think Sweet Tea. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you have Tourette's?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, that's why you called me Sweet Tea.
How is that going?
So, way better.
Wow.
Okay.
As you age up, for most people, it kind of slows down, and my Tourette's
kind of like asthma.
a lot too. Yeah.
That's great.
That's great.
Okay.
I made fun of her Tourette's.
Yeah.
I
You really did.
I feel bad about that still. That was like a decade ago.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel bad. I never. That was why I made it. That was why I let you use it as a nickname. I was totally fine with it.
See there, I love that.
She was sweet. She was sweet and had Tourette's.
Yeah, so that's why it was Sweet Tea.
Yeah. So we played an analogy there, like it was. It could be.
I got it.
Two things.
it.
Well, it's great to hear from you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You
Glad
handled
you're
it
doing
all
well.
very well.
Yeah.
If Chance
You were a
just
lot of
could-
fun.
If Chance just would have driven on the interstate, y'all could have gone.
That's right. He didn't drive on the interstate.
Doggone it. Let's go to Jameson in Alabama. Jameson, go ahead. Oh, we lost Jameson.
Hey, man,
let's go. Oh, Lynn in Wetumpka. Lynn, I see your topic. What in the world? Lynn, go ahead.
All right. Good morning, y'all.
Hey.
I have a sister, and I'm not going to name her name, Melissa. But anyway, she looks in the obituaries. She sees a lady's name. First of all, her thing was, I didn't know she was Catholic. She goes to the funeral home, stands in line. She's looking around.
Oh, boy.
Where's all the people from where we were raised up? She stands in line, gets up to the casket, looks over, and she's like, she don't even look like herself.
Oh, my, wrong person.
She done went to the wrong funeral.
Lynn. Your sister went to a funeral of a person that was not just the same name, but a completely different person?
Yeah, because the other person's still alive.
What? That really has to do it.
man.
Oh, wow. But she's going to hear about that for the rest of her life.
That's tough.
Don't you do a little more research before you go to the funeral?
Look, there's a lot of multiple names out there, especially if you're in a larger area. So you have to be careful.
You know, I understand that if we're grabbing the newspaper and see it, but a lot of resources out there these days.
Yeah.
A lot of resources.
Yeah.
You're talking about the things her family keeps saying to her over and
Sure.
over again?
Sure.
I'll tell you, if it's, I don't know how close she was to the person. It sounds like they may have just gone to school together or something, and maybe they were friends then. I don't know. But I have had some situations where you hear something, see something, and my first move is, and it's a little bit daunting, is I'll text the person. Hey, man, everything all right? And then if they reply back, yeah, I'm good, then I go, all right, it's a different person, same name. You know, it's...
You know, I had that moment where, probably shouldn't tell that on the air. I text somebody, this was a couple years ago, and their wife texted me back and told me that their husband had passed away.
Ooh.
Well, that happens.
We weren't friends, but I did.
That's honest
it was,
mistake.
Yeah, it was eerie.
Yeah, I got something with that, too. I'll tell you when we come back. We were at...
Rick and Bubba.
So, because of the storms where we had here in the southeast, it's normally Thursday, Saturday, but it got moved to Friday, Sunday, and so there were games yesterday. And little did we know, JC was up going to the game, and he had to report at a certain time, and he was going to run through and grab some breakfast on the way. And he texted Terry and I, and I'm about to get in trouble.
You are, but keep going.
And and he said, "Well, that was embarrassing." And it was a group text with just the three of us. That was embarrassing, and I was like, "Oh boy, what happened?" He goes, "Card just got declined and already ordered breakfast." And I'm
walk
like,
of shame out
"What?"
there.
And he's like, "Oh, and it was in store too."
Oh.
And I'm like, "You're kidding me." And a little bit of miscommunication, where we didn't transfer his weekly
Maybe take a 20 and hide it in my wallet for the stuff.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Hey,
Are you
gets that
serious,
from his
Greg?
daddy.
You think a college kid would actually have a backup plan for
Right.
anything?
And we have now the one thing that we did starting with Tyler, and we worked it all the way down, is we have the student accounts. So I mean, if it hits zero, that card won't work because I'm not going to do with overcharges and crap like I ain't doing that. So it got declined, and so we had a little bit. It was just a little bit of miscommunication, and I mean it's on us where we didn't transfer something over that he thought was there. Now he could have checked. But we said we were going to do it, so we should have done it.
He may keep him a 20 folded up in
Right.
his wallet. Now.
But I told Terry this, and she looked at
bet
me
he
kind of
does.
like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Doesn't everybody need to go through that at least once?"
Absolutely.
So hey, I can't do this
Well,
again.
I don't like
Boy,
that.
It's embarrassing, though.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Oh, it was hot too. He says,
right.
"Well, I guess I'll let it what he said, granola bar or something weird like that." So he hadn't eaten all day up to between games yesterday. We're trying to sneak him food.
Yeah, well,
That's not the worst one though. The worst to me, it hit me one time, like at the grocery store
they
when
put
you've
your
got
groceries
just
back?
tons, and they've already bagged everything. up.
Oh, yeah.
And you pay, and it goes something wrong. I go, "Hey, check it again. It's you're like,
Everybody behind just going,
I hate to check it again. That is the most awful.
And then you go,
try this one.
Then you go into the negotiation. Well, look, why don't you do this? I just live around the corner. Just let me have them. I'll bring you the money.
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Well, we can't do that.
Yeah.
But you got to put all that stuff back.
I've had to push my groceries over to the side, go out to my truck, and find my wallet.
Sure.
no, I did that one.
Yeah. Yeah, but think about when we were in college. You didn't have the debit card and all. So I mean, I would just lay a check down. It would just bounce over to them. And my $3 bill cost me about $33 because of overcharges.
I remember just
But at least with the check, you had a chance to try to beat it to the
Yeah,
bank.
you can try.
Yeah.
You had the game.
that was
once
You
you
can
left.
kite it a little
That
bit.
was the attempt.
All right, let me guess, because knowing this, having kids have gone off to college and all this, still got one at college and the rest of them out on their own, but it was your fault that JC did not have any money there. Because my deal is always as well, they'll learn. But mamas don't. All
she
they
didn't like
picture,
that.
all they can picture is their baby didn't have any food.
That's
They're
right.
on the way to a baseball game.
Yeah,
And you're responsible.
we had
and you didn't transfer that money.
no. I've noticed.
I always go that way. I learn.
I've noticed something, and I've kind of just been sitting back, but I've been observant on it. I've noticed that we just have an endless I need money, and I think it really forced something that we needed to have, and that was a budget talk.
Yeah.
And you know what, son?
That's back to learning.
It's not fair to you because you don't know how much you're asking for because it's just always I need money. How about this? Here's how much you're getting a week. This is when the deposits go in, and if you're out of money, you're out of money.
Right.
But this is, or you can, if you're 2 days out, you go, okay, I got to budget myself a little bit. I'm getting close. And I said, we'll have common sense. I mean, if things come up, we're going to work through that. But that way, that will hopefully take this and just push it aside. But yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't a good morning. Well, that was embarrassing.
Yeah, boy, I love that.
You could hear Terry. Oh no!
I got to go through trash like a trash can. I got to go through a trash can and try to find my American Express card over the weekend.
Oh, Rick.
What?
Well, when I had
find it in the can.
When I had my physical, he updated some of the prescriptions, and I had to go by and pick them up. And I appreciate Walgreens doing this.
They put it in your bag.
Oh, your card's in the bag. Okay, and you're not paying attention, because first on lift kit, I'm laying out there by the waist trying to get it out of the drawer,
hanging out the door.
So I go home, and what I do, I get the prescriptions out, put them up in the medicine cabinet, and I take that bag right in the trash can.
Yeah.
And then there's that moment you need it. You get you somewhere and you get your wallet out. Hey, baby, I got this. And I said, dun, dun, dun. And you look down there, and you knew exactly. And the American Express card was going. I started going back. Where's the last time I had it? Back. And all of a sudden, I'm like, it's in the trash can.
Oh, it's in the bag.
Sherry goes, your card. That's right, baby. 35 minutes past the hour. This will kind of parlay into our discussion because I'm talking about the Association of Mature American Citizens. You may be like us, as we've aged a little bit, and you started here from AARP. But if you were like us, you look and you're going, wait a minute, they're supporting Obamacare. They supported that. A bigger government, the Inflation Reduction Act. What in the world? That's new. Can't do it. Then you start thinking, wow, I'm missing out on all the discounts and all the benefits. No, not anymore. You have AMAC. AMAC.us/big box. Go there now. Guess what that gets you? 2 years for the price of one. A 2-year membership for $16 that will include the magazine. You get all the discounts that you've come to know and love. Yes, you're still going to get the money-saving travel benefits for hotels and car rentals and cruises and theme parks and shows and events and movies, restaurants. Yes, you're going to get free Social Security and Medicare advice. Yes, a trusted voice in Washington. Yes, somebody to help you with Medicare, like I said. But you're going to have someone that's there supporting the same values you do if you are more conservative. So 2 years for the price of one right now. Get involved. Go to amac.us/bigvox, amac.us/bigvox, or just go to the link at rickandbubba.com under the sponsors button. Speaking of that, so let me hit one thing, Helmsley, based on that thing you said about the call when someone has passed away. We remember when Steve Farrar, the dean of men's ministry, went on in. Incredible man of God and a mentor to so many of us, either through his books or those of us that were fortunate enough to actually know him and work with him alongside him. And so when he passed, it was you didn't want it. And we were all just like, man, Farrar has gone on in. And I'm riding in the truck one day, and you know how we now have all these screens that display the Bluetooth and whatever. Yeah. And I look up, and Steve Farrar is calling me. And I'm like, oh, what in the world? Because you start thinking if there's anybody that might be allowed to place a call from heaven, it might be Steve.
Yeah.
And I look up and I'm like, why is that? What in the? And then your mind just kind of goes, well, this is not possible. It's somebody. And then when I answer it, it was his wife who wanted to talk to me about stuff they're doing. By the way, if you haven't caught up on that, she's kind of doing what Oswald Chambers' wife did. With my utmost for his highest when he passed. Yeah. And his wife said, I got to take all these sermons and make sure they're not lost. And now we all consider it to be one of the greatest, most powerful devotionals ever written. Yeah. And his wife was the key to that happening. So his wife, Mary, is now he and that ministry is still pooling together. And you can get them archives of all of his Bible studies. We're working on a project with him at the Man Church that we're going to make available too of some him actually teaching a series, even though he's passed because of all the recordings. And so anyway, it was her calling about that, but she said I just found your contact in Steve's phone, so I just thought I would call you to ask about this. But it was weird to look up and see that.
Oh, I bet.
But talking about aging parents, and I know we have 3 stories here today from 3 different members of us that are fortunate enough to have our parents still. But aging parents it's a different deal, and I want to inform Greg that yesterday it was my day to be with Mom and take her to get her grocery shopping done and all of that, and spend some time with Mom, Greg, as you've done several times on doctor's appointments and grocery trips. And there was a new topic yesterday with Mom.
What's that?
Do you know what it was?
Well, yeah, because she brought it up to me too.
Hope you're happy.
So we're sitting there, and she starts running.
You know
down.
how she's into sports.
Yeah, Mom runs down, the headlines, and we'll discuss news of the day and all that, and of course, the various medical issues and all that, and the various doctors and hospitals and all that. There's some things that are reoccurring, and then she says, "And what in the world is wrong with your brother?" And I said,
How many times have you heard that?
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Mom, can you be more specific?
Yeah.
Why does he not like Birmingham Southern?
See,
Why does he not like that team?
Why,
And I
Greg?
said, I don't know, Mom, because let me tell you what I didn't do is defend you. I said, I did.
boy, so you saw the opportunity.
Oh, it was presented to me on a silver platter.
Yeah.
And I buried you. Yeah, and I said, I said, that's. I don't know what in the world. I said, I don't know why Greg just can't enjoy a feel-good story. I know. And she said, he's just. There's almost like he just doesn't. He has the opposite response to things that other people think are emotionally they're moving. I was just pulling for them. I said I wish Greg would have.
Well, see, I done cleaned the mess up, and you didn't help. But I told his mother I was just joking with Speedy and Helms more than anything. It was a joke. I mean, I'm not pulling against Birmingham Southern by no
But
means.
you think it is one of the great heartwarming stories of our time, right?
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Here we go.
I knew he was in trouble.
No, but it was funny, Rick, because she said, I was listening to the show today. She goes, what do you not like about this? Mother, you know how that's, I'm just having fun.
My favorite was, what is wrong with your brother? And I said, Mother, just go ahead. I'll try to help. Why does he not like Birmingham Southern story?
That is not.
And I said, I don't know.
Well, I'll say
I
this.
told her, I said, Mom's just trying to give it a little, maybe another view of something just to have good conversation. I was just kidding more than anything.
See, but here's where his rude Tourette's goes the other way. This morning, Speedy brought up the Super Regionals and kind of gave you an outline of what's coming up in the next few days. Mm-hmm. This one took that opportunity, because we were talking about baseball, to apologize. Now, when do you say that?
After his mama got on.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's it.
So
That's it.
so that
Well, I just wanted
it was
to point
nice to
out
see
that I
that.
was
It was
joking.
nice to see that side of him come out. We weren't talking about D3 World Series. We were talking about the Super Regional and D1, and he took that moment to go, "Hey, while we're talking, let me apologize."
I saw it growing up.
Yeah.
And
Well,
what
it was
happened
a joke.
yesterday?
I was just joking because everybody's all about it. And I thought, well, I'm going to not be about it and make everybody uncomfortable.
What happened yesterday was figuratively, but I saw it
It's
literally.
Now, did they cover it too much? Yes. But
Okay.
that's-
So
there we go.
I was
There we
just
go.
about to say it's about to go the other way.
There we go. That's
There
not
we
their
go. Why
fault.
can't you just stop?
Bubba, he
That's not their
apologized
fault.
about this, and now he's back.
It's
But
a big,
but
it was
that's
a
not
big
their fault.
story.
I'm
I
just
got
watching
tired of
him
hearing it,
spin.
So I saw.
They're the Panthers.
Oh,
buddy.
I'm pretty sure they're the Cougars.
No.
Cougars.
50% cutback.
Not anything now.
But
I'm just saying we'll get a story and we'll like
Well,
it. We'll stay. I'm
Rick,
talking about
I know,
local
I know
coverage
you
here.
have something here, Rick.
I hope
to,
they
to,
do a movie about it.
But
Oh,
when
they
else
do.
were they to talk about it? They went Friday. So, of
No,
course,
I'm
last
talking
week
about-
was a big deal.
This been going from way before then.
Well, no. I mean, not the.
did you give to the fundraiser to get them then? Did you?
I did on Mom's behalf.
Okay, in Mom's name. Yesterday, I saw it figuratively, but I've seen it literally growing up. Let me tell you what happened to this one yesterday. Mama got the switch out, and she tore him up.
No,
And got him back in line.
joke the
It
whole
must have been
time.
bad for him to
Because
do
you
all
remember,
this.
Little Greg today.
Yeah.
I even
Haircut
told
and all.
Helms that I was. It was a joke.
I got my hair cut and I apologize.
How about hey, you upset your mama?
Yeah. There we go.
So of course I was helpful, Bubba. It was like I was just. You know what I thought? How can God be so gracious?
We wish they'd went further than they did. I mean,
They went to the World Series.
yeah, but once they got there.
Greg, you
I'm
know
talking
how
about
hard
once they
that
got
is to
there.
do?
Yeah, but I'm just saying the story would have been better if they'd at least made it to the finals.
Right. Okay. Okay, Greg. You
I really don't.
I
know
think
what
they
you're-
That wouldn't
end
been a better story.
I think they end the story with a walk-off home run, and then you just say,
I really don't know what's
they
wrong with
make
you.
it.
If you make a movie, not a documentary, if you make a movie, then they do lose in the championship game.
Greg,
you
there-
can't say they won, but
there
you can
are-
say they lost in the championship game.
There are
The movies do that, and y'all know that.
389 D3 baseball schools
389
across our country. They make it within the top 4 to
Good
6.
story.
And you
No, I said it's a great story, but it'd been better.
But
You know,
everything's a but.
Bubba,
is.
Bubba,
Really
are you
good.
familiar with
It's
the
about-
term? There's a fish in the frying pan, and he thinks he's going to get out. And what does he jump in? The fire.
Well, I'm just saying, if I'm writing the script, it'd been better.
Okay.
It was still good.
Yeah. So
I will say that I thought that they didn't get to the final game. Is what y'all are saying?
No, they made it to the World
Yeah,
Series.
but they didn't. They
How
didn't.
many
They
were
got-
in that tournament?
And they went 1-2 in the World Series, but
which
they
is
ended up
good,
losing.
considering,
World Series, and I don't know what it is with D3, but D1 is 8 teams go.
Yeah, well, they were at the very
okay.
least
You
they were in
final
the top
in the 8
6 or so.
teams,
Yeah.
and you go to the World Series
Okay.
to make it. So, like the Super Regionals right now has 16 teams in it,
Okay.
and they're going to dwindle it down to 8, and they'll play in the College World
And
Series.
another positive
Okay.
note, though,
And
if you
something
think-
similar went on with
Rick,
Birmingham Southern
Rick.
in their league.
Wait,
If you think about it, in another positive note, though, I mean, you hate the schools shut down, but this was a special year, and they can keep their uniforms as souvenirs. They don't have to turn them back in because they don't need them next year.
I really don't know what.
So that's a positive.
How is
They
that
do.
a positive?
They get to keep
Greg?
their uniform
That is
because you get
not
to
a
keep your uniform as a keepsake.
The school doesn't exist anymore, Greg.
hey, will you do a
Greg, what about for the movie if like some really rich alumnus had said, I will save the school
Oh, yeah.
if you win the World Series?
Yes, and then there's a person that wants to make who wants to go and plow down the school and make a parking lot in some big business.
You know what? I think if you look
He's
at,
working against the team.
I think there may be in real life a villain there. It seems like somebody was trying to tell me there was some. Like they were going to give them this loan, then somebody come in and said, "No, we ain't doing that."
No, that was the state of Alabama.
Yeah, but they named a person. The guy that
It was
You're
the
missing.
treasurer.
yeah, he come in and said,
Adam, will you give me
Well,
a close up shot? real quick?
Honestly,
Yeah.
honestly,
I'm just
did it
reporting
look like a good investment to the
I don't know.
taxpayers?
I don't know nothing about it.
I'm looking in the camera right now. Sorry, Mom.
Look, I'm not
Sorry.
saying that. I was joking.
Well, you know what he did, Rick? He went
I
from
tell you this, there was
out
a
of,
lot-
out of
me
trouble back to in trouble.
Well, I was joking.
Fish in frying pan, out in fire.
Yeah,
I don't see how that-
there are 8 teams that make it.
And that's great.
Okay, and they finished
saying,
5th
would it
in the
have been-
country.
That's great.
Out of nearly 400 teams.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'm just talking about for the story. What if they'd have went all the way to the final?
Oh, no,
God
we all
forbid
do.
win it.
Oh, that's a side note to
I
getting
know.
there.
I didn't say it was the main thing.
We'll be back.
Rick and Bubba.
Trash can? It's in the trash can. Tell me you hadn't put trash out yet. She's like, I don't know. When did you put it in there? I said, Friday. And I had to go home. I had to go home and root through the trash, and I found it though.
Wow.
How about that feeling when you found it, though?
Oh my God!
That
Tell you what I was.
relief.
I'll tell you what I was thankful for is a debit card. So I don't ever use my debit card. Never. It's strictly a backup. Well, I was glad I had it though.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey's not listening, right? Bottom of the hour. We'll be back. More of the Rick and Bubba Show coming up right after this.
Rick and Bubba.
All right, so Matthew McConaughey, this continues to be a story. He says the Texas governor run is an honorable thing, and he is giving it consideration. Some reason the story also mentions in tiny type underneath that he did this on Jimmy Fallon. I didn't see that because I can't remember the last time I've even saw Jimmy Fallon in the Tonight Show. These late night shows, as you can imagine, don't come around for us very often.
No.
And I'm getting where even on weekends I can't stay up late enough to watch them.
I know.
So anyway, and so Fallon asked him about it on Friday's program, and he says what an honorable thing to even able to consider, but no further than that right now. What's McConaughey's political leanings? I know that he wants to fit in, but he's not as far left as some of them.
No, I think he even claims to be a conservative to a point.
Would this be though? But is in Arnold type conservative? You know, Arnold.
That makes sense.
Remember, Arnold was a Republican for a while, or sort of. Or
Yeah,
something.
I would say probably moderate at best.
Yeah. So somewhere, do you think he falls into that category?
I think so.
Rick, I would say that's probably the default position. If it's any better than that, I'd be shocked. But
has anybody ever heard him talk about anything that matters?
No. I've heard him say, all right.
Yeah,
That's about it.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I know he gave some speech one time everybody was so enamored with. Then I heard it and I said, "We're enamored with this speech because I guess nobody gives good speeches anymore."
He was on a podcast one time where he talked about how he's been famous for so long that he was one of the last celebrities that could actually even say that he was leaning to the right before. Now, if you are a celebrity and you say that you lean to the right, you won't get gigs, you won't get hired. And he kind of was talking about how he's one of the last ones. Him and then Chris Pratt would probably be the only two that I could think of.
Okay, all right. So he seems to indicate, of course, you know where we are, the way we see leaning to the right. I mean, we might consider him to be, like you said, a moderate, but I guess
by the standard
of the current left, he would be not left, right?
Yeah, he would be extremely moderate.
Well, let's
compared
face
to
it.
them.
If you're not a socialist, then you're not left.
I don't think he's there yet.
And to your point, this actual headline says the following: Matthew McConaughey is flirting with a run for governor, but his politics remain a mystery.
Yeah.
So it's nobody knows.
Well, I got bad news. If you're going to run for governor, your politics need to be made public.
I didn't make the headline. I'm just reading
when people are going to vote for you, they kind of know where you're at.
Can I tell you what I've noticed too? I don't think these stories keep coming out. Like when I read what he said to Jimmy Fallon, I mean, people are acting like he's really putting together like a I don't think he. I just think this is just a.
That's just kind of off the cuff talking.
What an honor!
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not planning.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
This just in.
After that commercial, he got all flat in.
Yeah, there. What is this right here?
Well, that's him on the left. Boy, he looks
that's
rough.
him with Jimmy Fallon saying what you just talked about, Rick.
Nice glasses.
If
Matthew.
you need the audio, it's there.
Yeah, I'm not sure we can do that though. Use their audio on the YouTube. But anyway, he
had a book come out, and I heard he was being interviewed. And some of the stuff in it sounds like he travels down the Amazon and he went to this village and he fought this big giant guy like in a wrestling ring. Some of the stories he comes up with sound just bizarro.
Yeah, I think he is kind of bizarro.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of out there.
But yeah, this he went to some village and they like the village champion come out and next thing you know they're in a circle and he's out there fighting.
Well, I did that in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's. Probably it could have happened.
Back to spring break.
Right. I mean, remember when I fought the village champ?
And his dad, he tells a story about his dad. Now, that's a character.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yes.
You ought to hear how he went on out. I'll tell you in the break.
Yeah. He talked about. I saw
and he called
the
the shot. Told him that's the way he was going to go.
Well, he called his shot.
Look, let's just put that under. There's certainly worse ways to go.
I was going to say.
Well, I mean, if people had to choose, I'm sure that long line would be that one.
Right. Of course, you'd like for it to be your wife, I hope.
Well, it was.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Greg, it was his wife.
Good. I didn't know. I just checked it. Before we had announced that's the way we want to go, I want to be sure.
In fact, when he made his prediction, he made the point that's who it would be.
Well, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Then that's all good.
And
There it is.
That's an important point to clarify. If that's the last thing.
And
I
it's
heard
not
you
an
do.
outlandish comment
Before
to
you
think it was something else.
Yeah,
too.
to stand before.
Yeah, now don't get me wrong. He had a bizarre little run. He's got a brother named Rooster that's a.
We're back 9 minutes to the top of the game, in the top of the hour. So Speedy, we mentioned Friday night where he'll be at the Alabama State game. Saturday, playoff time for the UFL. He'll be there for the championship game for the USFL conference between Michigan and Birmingham. Again, 20-19 last Saturday. So we're these two teams. It should be another interesting game. And then, as mentioned by a caller a minute ago, Sherry and I will not be discussing pickleball, but we'll be going to Missouri this weekend, Minor Baptist Church, Sikeston, Missouri, and looking forward to being there. Friday night a men's event, Saturday morning a women's event. Sherry and I together for a marriage event Saturday night, and then I'll speak Sunday morning at the normal service. So you can go to all of that, or you can just go to some of that, and you can find that at rickandbubba.com, along with Speedy this weekend. All those things are at rickandbubba.com, too, under upcoming events. So aging parents are our topic. Speedy, you are touching on another thing with aging parents. Jeff Foxworthy said it best. When you finally become an empty nester, if your parents live long enough, your children leave your home and then your parents drive in. And now you take them on as you did, and we should, because that we honor them because they took care of us. And but it's an interesting thing, and they have a tremendous amount of time on their hands, and so they tend to really be on top of things. And you brought up something that we've all been through with aging parents, is if you say on a particular day, say you're going to say, hey, I'll come by and we'll take you to the grocery store. Hey, I'll come over and I'll cut that tree up that fell. Hey, I'll come over and whatever. You better not change that plan. Because it is on the calendar.
It is on the calendar.
So tell us about where you are on with your parents.
Well, their backyard can become a jungle if you don't watch it. It's a lot of natural area, and so I try to get up there, every couple of weeks and cut it down. They have somebody that takes care of the front, but the back, it's almost like you don't even just touch it.
Right.
And it's been on my mind to get up there and do that. And I had a window of today or tomorrow. The rest of the other days were just out.
Right.
But unfortunately for that area in North Alabama, there's a lot of rain that's forecasted for today and tomorrow. Which is tough to do yard work in, and you hate to drive 2 hours up there and then it's raining and you can't even do it. So
I mean, the
It's
sun
no fun.
may be out
It's
here,
no fun
but
raking, wet grass.
yeah,
no
and I'm gonna have to do some trimming and it's just weed killing and all that stuff. So rain doesn't mix. So
Hey, be careful using those chemicals.
Okay, and so I told my parents about it, and told them the window that I had and the 2 days that were up for me maybe coming up there. And so
and the minute you said that,
They want
Bubby,
that stuff sprayed in their yard.
and you touched on it, Bubba. When he said to aging parents, "This is my window," they wrote it on their calendar in blood.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
they
you
did.
better be there.
Yeah. So
there's
since-
alternatives that are more natural.
Since then, I've gotten an hourly forecast update on.
So they're keeping you
on
updated.
what-
Letting you know what the weather's
what's
like.
going
Your app
on.
doesn't work for hunting.
What's going on up
Evidently
there and
not.
everything, and then not only what the app says, but what the local weathermen are saying too on the
getting that.
chances
Every
of
hour.
rains and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
and look, they want to make sure I don't waste my time coming up there,
Right.
so I appreciate
Sure.
that. But the latest one here from my dad said that. I was just watching the morning weather. Looks like today we're going to have scattered thunderstorms this morning, this afternoon as well. But tomorrow seems like we might have some rain in the morning, but it's supposed to become clear in midday. So I'm not sure what you want to do, but perhaps tomorrow afternoon there might be no rain. But I'll have to update you later once I get another update on the forecast.
Okay, good. So you're
So
going
there's my update.
That's helpful.
So it looks like tomorrow's a better day.
Okay.
But I will know.
You will know.
once that noon forecast hits with the weathermen. up
Yeah,
there.
it updates like every hour.
And
so
somebody-
you're around.
Thank you, Dad.
Maybe you need to get a weather station for them at their house. That
Yep.
way you could get more,
Yep.
exact.
Oh yeah.
Wind and rain.
Well,
and
I do
everything.
have some apps for that.
No, I mean you need one at their house, not one app. You need to physically put one there on the pole because you can get a more accurate reading for their house.
Because I've pinned their
Get real
house.
specific.
I've pinned their house, and I get weather updates on
but
their
that-
house if there's warnings
just
or
for the general
or stuff
area.
like that. Yeah.
That's just you need
I
something
mean,
right
because
there.
now the way rain is, Rick, it can
scattered.
rain on one end of the
Scattered.
block, not on the other.
Scattered.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's downpouring,
Scattered.
and then it's sun shining on the other end.
Oh, I had that yesterday at the house. It came just, a downpour for about 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Then the sun came back out.
Yeah, saw that too.
Yeah.
Sound the alarm, Helmsy. I understand that Mac has begun to text.
Yes.
In 2024.
Well, I mean, he went from not even having a phone.
So actually he started texting in 2023.
Okay.
But I was getting some encouraging text messages. And this story is not so much about him texting, but it's about his process he goes through to do it.
Okay.
And I was talking to Mom, and I'll get to that. But in 2023, probably I guess it was probably around July or August, Mom got him a phone, an iPhone, and gave it to him and all this. Well, for like 3 months, randomly, I would get a text. I had this number in my phone as Mom, and I think I've shared this story.
Yeah.
But I would get these random texts from a number that said Alicia Helms.
Right.
And it would come, and it was an encouraging text. So I just assumed it was from Mom.
It's from your mom, 'cause-
Didn't say anything. like my first D1 win when I got the job, some congrats, some encouragement. Certainly doesn't sound like Mac Daddy. So I thought, that this is mom texting.
Or
and
an imposter.
So didn't think anything of it. That was addressed. But now I'm starting to get more text. But the process he goes through with this is hilarious. Perfect example. May 23rd. I charged the battery for about 30 minutes today on the Sea-Doo. It cranked right up. That's all he said.
Well, that's all
I
you
said,
needed to know.
what a machine. Thanks for doing that. Because it's an older Sea-Doo, and we were both surprised. Then this Saturday, in the afternoon, on the show Friday, you were talking about the LPGA. You have a cousin that played at Tennessee, Blakely Brock, that was on the PGA Tour, but had shoulder surgery last year, and he talked to a relative about a month ago, and he said that she was hopeful she'd come back. I said, I had no idea. I'll start looking for her. So I'm talking to Mom yesterday, and I said, Dad never texts me back. Like, when I text him, he never texts me back.
He's just a one-way, like a newscast.
And I said, I don't know that he's even getting my responses. And she goes, I know he's not. And I said, well, why? And she goes, well, what he does when he gets something on his mind, the random text, he turns his phone on, so he doesn't even have it on. He texts you, and then he immediately turns the phone off.
He turns it off.
And I said, why is he doing that? She goes, well, he's afraid the battery's going to run down. And I said, well, does he not understand? Right by his recliner he sits in, there's an outlet. He can plug it in.
He turns it off?
He turns it off.
Tell me these batteries, they last a lot longer than
He's treated like a walkie-talkie.
Rick and Bubba.
This hour of the Rick and Bubba Show is brought you in part by the wonderful folks at First Cup Coffee Company. Freedom to make this your time around the table with your family. Delicious roast. The coffee tastes great, but each coffee is a part of American history. You have it right there on the bag. You can sit around and discuss it together with a family. They've got the Rushmore, and they've got the Washington, the Lexington, the John Hancock, the Boston Common. You see the list goes on and on. Go right now to firstcup.com. Use the code Bubba, and you'll save 10%. Now, if you become a subscriber, you will get an additional 10%, and all subscribers always get free shipping, and there's no contract. You can cancel anytime. Go right now to firstcup.com. Use the code Bubba.
Rooster?
Yeah. Ain't it Rooster? Something like that. I mean,
Rooster McConaughey?
Some kind of bird.
And then Helmsley tells us we're chasing some Sean Hannity story today about vaping.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
I just sent
It's
it
a
over
funny
to
video.
I sent it to you. Is that recent?
Yeah, I think it happened a couple days ago. Last week, I think.
Of course, I don't believe anything now, but it's there.
Yeah.
No,
There
it's
it is.
Is that deep fake?
It's not. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, the reason why here it is. All right.
look,
The
vape in
guy's
his mouth.
glasses on.
Look, vape in his mouth.
Well, that was quick.
Now our villain of the day, Adam Schiff, Eric.
Is that what? I didn't know Hannity even ever
He handled
started.
it well and quick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Uh-oh. The fact that his glasses are crooked makes it even better.
Well, we talked about his reading glasses.
Yeah.
But
Uh-oh.
I didn't have my
Remember,
earpiece in.
I've said this before. I said this to Hannity. The few times we could talk to him. You have made gigantic money. You can't find reading glasses better than that.
That's like them you get at the dollar store.
I mean, come on. I mean,
You put them on and read that chart.
There's times like I can tell that he's put them on when they was doing the show that he thinks they were doing video.
Yeah.
And then they come back to him and he's like, he takes them off every time.
Wow, that's quick hands.
Well,
Yeah,
That shows that volleying skill.
Yeah, by the way, hey, Sean, we know you trained with the martial arts guy. We got it.
I got it. He broke a board, right?
Back before he changed his email and his cell phone, and Bubba and I can't communicate with him anymore. And I may be the reason. It may be
tired of hearing about it.
It may be on me. Every time he would talk on his show about how he's trained martial arts, I would text him that I could take him.
And so he just changed his number.
Yeah, he just finally changed it. And I think that might have been on.
No, I think that's from his tennis moves there, that volley, quick hands.
Well, he's got. I noticed the other day. I heard he's got a new drop that Scott Shannon's done for him that makes fun of that he's not very good at tennis.
Well, that's probably right. His son's real good.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that Sean had played or if he was any good or not. But I like a self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
It refers to him as a very average tennis player. So I don't know. But I didn't know that Sean. Usually, people who vape are former smokers that are trying to do something better.
Right.
Has anybody ever just came into the world of smoking like my first thing I ever did was vape?
That may be now.
Or maybe so now.
But I mean,
maybe not him.
They're
mostly-
showing that that's not. I mean,
talking about
it
younger
could be worse for you than smoking in some cases, could it?
Yeah. Look, we're gonna find out. The stuff we're gonna find out about vaping is still yet to come.
You might as well just smoke a Black and Mild and be safe about it.
Thank you, Greg.
He could be doing the CBD stuff.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
He could be doing that.
You know, none of
Rick.
Greg.
Okay, y'all.
Greg.
I didn't need to
Where
say
did that come from?
It's just something out there.
We just showed Hannity training.
but he'll mention that on the air in a second.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we got it. Gotcha.
Mark Clark.
Sharp. Great face, sharp face. We'll be back.
Well, I mean, I can do that.
Please look.
I mean, if a guy's got a plastic gun, I will reach right out and grab it.
He's slapping at her, isn't it?
We'll take your phone calls next at 866. We be big. Your phone calls coming up.
Rick and Bubba.
Heath in Birmingham. Heath, go ahead. Crystal clear. Heath, go ahead. Hey.
They call that a fresh breeze that knocked Biden to the ground on the steps.
Y'all.
We used to call it breaking wind.
Was on hold for a while, too.
I wanted you to spell steps. I'm just curious.
Greg, I don't think their shots are making you nicer. I think they're going the other way.
I'm just observing.
It's the second one, Bubba.
STAYUPS.
Appreciate the call, bud.
Thank you, buddy. Bruce in Tuscaloosa. Bruce, go ahead. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, yeah, a comment about your parachute jumper. You know, the only time you need a parachute if you plan on going again, you know. But I read a story this weekend. Police in North Carolina made a drug raid, and one of the guns that they ran across was disguised to look like a Nerf gun.
Didn't see that.
The dangers that they run into. Yeah, it was on Chattanooga where I live at. But, yeah, he planned on.
Here we go. 7 minutes past the hour from the Big Boy Studios. Another hour. Speedy, the real Greg Burgess, Helmsy, Eddie Van Adler, all here for a brand new hour. Welcome back, Bill Bubba Bussey.
Rick, glad to be here. Thank all of you for joining us at the little party we called Rick and Bubba.
Fauci update. Well, our little Fauci friend continues to face some criticism as we're now realizing, even though you weren't allowed to say it, that everything everybody was questioning about Dr. Fauci, most all of it seemed to be substantiated now.
We got all the Fauci you want, buddy.
It seemed to have been warranted. So here is Chairman Winstrup.
Yep.
We got hearings with Dr. Fauci, and we're not going to play every bit of it, but here is a clip of kind of the reason that we're all here and trying to get to the bottom of the integrity of Dr. Anthony Fauci. Here we go.
Looking for help. As well, during that time, we discovered the Barrick-Shee 2015 article on creating a chimera using gain-of-function type technology. While policy decisions should have been based on scientific data, some frankly were not. The burdensome 6-foot social distancing rule did not have sufficient scientific report. In your words, it just sort of appeared. Distancing made sense, but the 6 feet was arbitrary. Even Dr. Collins said he still hasn't seen any empirical evidence to support the 6-foot rule. A rule that shut down schools and businesses, a rule that will have negative ramifications for decades. As the pandemic wore on, more mandates also just sort of appeared. But the American public didn't get to see the scientific data to support these mandates. Americans were aggressively bullied, shamed, and silenced for merely questioning or debating issues such as social distancing, masks, vaccines, or the origins of COVID.
So that got us off and running, and he is correct on looking back on how it went down. Fauci is going to double down, even though he's told us that there was no scientific backing for the things he did, but now he's just going to tell us he still thinks they should have been done. So here is Dr. Fauci responding.
I'm going to go through a list of COVID mitigation measures that you supported over the course of the pandemic and ask you to give me a yes or no as to whether you believe these measures were justified. Business closures?
Early on, when 5,000 people were dying a day, yes.
Church closures?
Same thing.
School closures?
Again, the
stay-at-home orders?
These were important when we were trying to stop the tsunami of deaths that were occurring early on. How long you kept them going is debatable.
Mask mandates for adults, mask mandates for children, mask mandates for children under 5.
And going back to what I said before, all of that is in the context of, at the time, 4,000 to 5,000 people a day
there's
were
scientific
dying.
evidence for that?
Excuse me?
Mask mandates for children under 5, there's scientific evidence supporting that?
There was no study that did masks on kids before. You couldn't do the study. You had to respond to an epidemic that was killing 4,000 to 5,000 Americans per
Vaccine
day.
mandates for employees, vaccine mandates for students, vaccine mandates for military.
Vaccines save lives. It is very, very clear that vaccines have saved hundreds of thousands of Americans and millions.
I'm not debating. We're talking about the COVID-19. Did or do the vaccines, the COVID-19 vaccine, stop anyone from getting COVID?
I answered that question to the chairman. Early on, it became clear that
they did.
No, actually, no. In the beginning, it clearly prevented infection in a certain percentage of people, but the durability of its ability to prevent infection was not long. It was measured in months.
And they didn't stop you from spreading it either.
Early on, it did if it prevented infection, but what became clear that it did not prevent transmission when the ability to prevent infection waned.
I wish he'd have stayed on the mandate.
Yeah, I mean, the mandate, it was the deal, not encouraging people. Now, this next one, is this a look back, or is he still saying this, Adam, when we get to number 3? Now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
This was yesterday as well.
He said this yesterday.
And did you see, too, when Fauci responded to vaccines, he started giving those numbers. He said, now, COVID-19 vaccines.
Right.
Because Fauci, you got to watch him.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
He's
look,
a slick character. He didn't get in that position by being an idiot.
We all agree that vaccines themselves have been very effective,
yes.
but we're talking about this one.
Some a lot more than others.
Yeah, here we go.
And do you think the American public should listen to America's brightest and best doctors and scientists, or instead listen to podcasters, conspiracy theorists, and unhinged Facebook memes?
Okay, buddy.
No, listening to people who you just described is going to do nothing but harm people because they will deprive themselves of life-saving interventions, which has happened. And you know, some have done studies. Peter Hotez has done an analysis of this and shows that in people who refuse to get vaccinated for any variety of reasons, probably responsible for an additional 200,000 to 300,000 deaths in this country.
Unproven. Unproven.
I
object. That is as much hearsay as the 6 foot rule. He's just bringing these numbers out of the air. He's got nothing to back that up.
And he's quoting Peter Hotez, who is an absolute quack. He's a vaccinologist. He was on CNN throughout this entire thing, changing his story millions of times over. He went, Dr. Peter Hotez went on Rogan and would not admit that natural immunity is even a thing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And Rogan's like, but what about like physical fitness? What about being healthy? What about getting vitamin D? What about going out and being out in the sun and being a healthy person? And Peter Hotez wouldn't even touch it. He would not admit that natural immunity is better than
Absolutely was
immunity.
better. As a matter of fact, the vaccine caused you to have a natural response. That's how it wored.
That's what you're
That's how it
shooting
was
for.
supposed to work.
Yeah.
Right. Jim Jordan, who we were all waiting to get a hold of Fauci, he causes Fauci to perjure himself in 11 seconds.
Here we go.
And he's going to say 11 seconds too.
Do you agree that there was a push to downplay the lab leak theory?
Not on my part.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
I think most of the country would find that amazing. I still got 11 seconds.
Well, look at the facts. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
All right, I yield back.
Fauci lied. He was the main person saying it did not come from that lab. It was natural. It came from the wet market. He knew all along what was going on in Wuhan. He helped fund it. That is perjury in my book.
Well, I love that he must have discussed it with whoever was sitting next to him. Because I actually had 11 seconds. I think it was shorter than that.
I think they had a pool going, how quick he could do it.
That wink said it all.
I'll defend Fauci on this. Early on, when people were dying in mass numbers and they were trying this and they said wear a mask and they said sick. Look, I don't even blame them for that originally. They were trying to do something to curb the spread.
Yep.
But what he should have done, and where he is liable and where I hold him accountable, he should have told them where that came from. More than likely, it was a leak at the Wuhan lab because they were doing gain-of-function research that we funded. That would have helped us immensely to try to end this early. But he was like a cat in a sandbox covering his own trail.
Can you show me the cat again?
I don't blame him early for trying stuff, but and he said very carefully how long it should have gone on. We should have looked at, but he was the one prolonging it.
We have more from the hearings. We'll run some of those down for you too when we come back.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Jumping again with that parachute, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, that's why you have one.
Need more than 10 stories to get one open.
Yeah. Have you talked to? You've got a jump baser.
Yeah, I was thinking. Let me ask him about
it.
That would be nice to know.
Yeah.
This is people with alcohol involved trying to do the physics of the height of how you should be with a parachute, and it didn't quite add up.
There was just a lot of details missing out.
I didn't bring the zero up. I'm sorry. We were figuring this.
Right.
Yeah. That's on me.
Yeah, let's go to Brittany. Brittany, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, Brittany.
On my way to work, and I was listening to you guys every morning. Y'all make my day.
Thank you.
But I had an idea for a Trump platform. He should name it Mega Nation. MAGA Nation.
You know what? That's really not a bad idea. Have something.
Well, now think about this though. He'll be marketing this worldwide. I mean, this will be. He's got to do bigger than that.
That's true. That's true. It'll be a universal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The best ever.
The best
ever.
The greatest. This is the greatest. This is the beginning. In the beginning, there was my platform.
What about his hype man setting him up that you read?
Yeah.
He was setting him up. Everybody's going to want to be a part of
Everybody wants to know what the president's doing, and
they will.
to the greatest platform there's ever been.
They will. I tell you, there's a lot of people just would go to anything right now.
Oh yeah,
anything.
I passed the flags on
to
the
get
way
rid of that crew out in Silicon Valley. What an odd bunch they are.
Yeah, I agree.
Faith in Florence, WLAY.
I mean, some terrible haircuts, dude.
Oh, well, I mean,
Faith, go ahead.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
I have a message for Mr. Greg Burgess.
Okay.
Love him dearly, but he is among the last ones to be making a mockery of how anyone else pronunciates things from the guy who said, "Get a hold of it."
Okay, I'll give you that. Spell that
with a T.
With a T. You're correct, ma'am. Absolutely. Now hang up. I'm just kidding.
Well, she was just my pointing it out, just letting you know.
Yeah, go back there and go hit that vacuum, get that floor cleaned up. Go and plug out the wall.
I'm plugging it to the wall.
I had to feed me. I know. It's game.
You're talking anything.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't hear the TV. There you go now.
Rick and Bubba.
Minutes past the hour. Thank you for being with us as we move through another one today. We'll get to more of your phone calls coming up. We're rolling through the bad medicine segment for Fauci, but don't forget Dad. Hey, somebody help Daddy. Father's Day is not this weekend, but next weekend. Give the gift of Rick and Bubba at rickandbubba.com. Got some throwback vintage shirts. Got some 3 decades of radio gold. We got the collectible tea glasses. Some other items are still there. A really cool item that we thought was gone forever is coming back. We thought it would be back by Father's Day, but it's not. But it will be soon after. We'll update you that when we can. So that's something you can get for Dad. And if you want a signed copy for the dads on your list of the new devotional Sin Always Matters, just go to themanchurch.com. It's right there on the homepage. The cutoff for that is June 10th. All right, so more Fauci.
We're going to try to cut through these. We have so much of it.
Oh,
it's just,
so much Fauci.
It's
tiny
it's
Fauci.
almost too much.
It's anecdotal.
You want to see 7 Adler? You like that one?
Yeah,
it's about 30 seconds.
You want to do?
This is when Fauci went on TV to complain that Trump wasn't issuing a nationwide stay-at-home order. Now, you heard him before. He almost is he will either say we did it because so many people were dying, or he will deny they did it when he actually did it. And of course, there's a lot of video to back this up.
It's hard to follow, but so here we go.
And here in the United States, we are still not doing what we need to do to fight this deadly virus because of a complete lack of leadership. The president still won't issue a nationwide stay-at-home order. Dr. Anthony Fauci bluntly saying this tonight.
I don't understand why that's not happening. As you said, the tension between federally mandated versus states' rights to do what they want is something I don't want to get into. But if you look at what's going on in this country, I just don't understand why we're not doing that. We really should be.
No.
So Fauci was for locking everybody in their house.
You might talk like they did in Australia, and it was a total disaster.
Yeah,
or like they do in China.
And here's the thing, too. You can be wrong on the issue. That's fine. But we couldn't debate it. We couldn't talk about it.
Correct.
Because if you said, well, wait a minute, Dr. Fauci, where are we getting this from? Are we unduly hassling everybody? Or are we really actually doing something good? You were taken off social media. You were not allowed to speak. You could lose your job. I mean, it was so un-American not to have the debate. And I know people were dying. People wanted answers. But sometimes you can't microwave a problem. Sometimes it's going to take more than one day to solve something, and that's the case when you have these things.
And talking about states' rights, if you look at the states that were heavily vaccinated, states that were heavily locked down versus the more free states like Florida, some of the other southern states, there isn't a difference.
No.
The states that locked down and ruined lives, 200,000 businesses closed because of those lockdowns. That's 200,000 family businesses for generations that were just destroyed.
Yep.
And if you look at the states that were more free, they did not have the skyrocketing deaths that everybody predicted and fear-mongered about.
Well, you don't leave out what we did to children. Greg and I both have family members that are teachers, and they said, buddy, the impact. The students of the pandemic are so far behind,
and those studies
they are so far
are
behind.
from the National Institute of Health that Fauci used to run.
Right,
and they're the ones saying it did damage. Let's see cut 10, Adler, right quick. This is him admitting to forcing vaccine mandates on Americans and proving that if they make it difficult, they can change the way they act.
Yeah. So this is
once people feel empowered and protected legally, you were going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. It's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bull and they get vaccinated.
Yeah.
So now he is blaming the vaccination question on ideology instead of the science, which I thought we were supposed to be following. And frankly, the science is not being friendly to him.
Did you hear how creepy that was?
Yeah. I know. Well, it was very Orwellian.
The central government can make life so miserable for you, you'll give up this liberty garbage.
Yeah.
And people did. Look, I have 2 members of our family, the only 2 that were vaccinated, and the 2 that were vaccinated, they were vaccinated under this kind of pressure.
Yep.
They wanted to be able to have freedom on the college they were attending, and the other one wanted to have work because he was told if he didn't do it, he couldn't work.
Yep.
And you went through that with the
same thing.
Yeah. And Adler, you may have been through that. I don't know.
This is a vaccine passport. This is a vaccine passport. I had to have this if I wanted to fly anywhere. If I wanted to get on a plane, I had to have this piece of paper.
Yeah.
Where are your papers? Well, you guys make the German joke all the time.
Yeah.
Here it is, right here.
Right. It was it was one of the biggest overreaches by the central government, and they do it the way they do everything. They terrify you, and it all goes back to the thing that we keep pointing out, and Bubba, you keep pointing it out every time because you can't be lost. If we had been given the truth about where this virus came from
At the very beginning.
and that it was manipulated, it was gain of function, we would have looked at everything. Like, we probably wouldn't have been hugging on this vaccine and treating it like it was going to be like a smallpox vaccine. We would have known because of the origin of the virus, maybe not.
It was going to be more like a flu shot.
Yeah, and it was going to be a shot, not a vaccine. And we didn't do that, and we destroyed the loss of life is horrible. No one wants to die of anything or have someone that you love die of anything. But there are things that are worse, and there are people right now that the state of our country and our society, there's a lot of problems right now that were not necessary. We did this to ourselves because we were lied to. And some of this, it'll be decades.
Never catch up.
Or some of it may never be caught up. I'll tell you one thing, like Adler said, if my family business was destroyed, I'm not building it back. It's over.
All right, let's get this one more clip in here. This is Chris Cuomo debating libertarian again. This is different from the one we saw yesterday.
Okay.
And this sums it up. This is why everybody's so mad. Why I'm still so mad.
I hear your understanding of the pandemic. I don't agree. I lived it closer than you in many ways. Closer than any of you, probably, in many ways.
How?
And there were absolutely mistakes made. The idea that it was a totalitarian regime, that's hyperbole.
All right, can I respond? Because there was a lot there, so I want to try to respond to as much of it as I can.
I didn't mean to flood the zone.
No.
Take it one by one.
We can go one by one. Okay, first of all, when I describe the lockdowns that swept this nation in 2020 as totalitarian, just to be clear, I'm not being hyperbolic. When you're waking up every morning to watch your TV, to find out from your governor what you're allowed to do today, including am I allowed to go to work? Am I allowed to have a funeral for my father? Am I allowed to see my family? Am I allowed to step outside without a cover on my face? There is one word and one word only for that, and that is totalitarianism. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He is correct.
He is 100%
by definition.
Correcto. We're good.
Rick and Bubba.
The Rick and Bubba Show. Thanks for being with us. A brand new hour is rocking right now. We thank you for being with us, and we start this hour with the national anthem.
Burgess, friends, neighbors, associates everywhere, those just hoping for a better tomorrow. Welcome to the Rick and Bubba Experience, where bare knuckle boxing is the way we go.
That's right.
Well, glad to be celebrating Marty Bubba. You know, getting to the age where might not want to keep up with these things so much.
No.
Might want to start gearing these things down a little bit.
Well, you can kick, you can stretch, and you're 57.
That's it.
But speaking of birthdays, I do think today is actually our chief engineer, Super Tom's birthday.
The real day?
Yeah,
today?
I think
Well,
so.
how about that?
How about that?
That's what I got.
Happy
on my
birthday,
calendar.
Tommy.
Hey, birthday. Yeah, Super
I don't
Tom.
know if it's right or not, but it's on my calendar.
But
I'll
it's
say that.
Is Tom coming to our lunch today?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the we have a staff lunch today, and of course some of the people that have been asked to be there. We've already had one say he's not coming.
I know.
He gave us a picture from the beach.
He even confirmed with me back when I told him.
Yeah, he didn't know he was going to the beach.
I guess not.
Yeah,
I guess not.
Kind of figured.
Well, look, that's
He had
what-
his toes in the sand for sure.
You know what it is. You get out there too early. Somebody just writes it down. They don't even thinking about what they're doing.
No.
So no JT today.
Gosh, I was looking forward to that.
I know it.
Well,
I know it. JT he's hard to catch.
No, he really is. I'm
gonna tell him Rick was real disappointed.
No, I have not been much more successful. JT will come in on me and come in like real hot, and then every now and then I will reciprocate, and then he never can do it. You'll go back. Okay, well, what about this right here? Oh man, I can't. Start all that.
Boy, he's all buddy when he needed COVID facts, wasn't he?
Well, I tell you, and I've been on him too because I was looking forward to making fun of his antibodies.
Yeah.
He's not going to damper our good mood, though, Bubba. Don't you worry about that.
He can't.
It takes. I'll be honest. It takes a little edge off of it.
Yeah, right. Because now we got nobody to make fun of.
I know. That's the point. I mean, we got nobody to beat up on.
I know. Then
I'll be there, guys.
That's what I say. Then everybody gets nervous because somebody's going to get it.
Yeah. Who's going in the middle now? Who's going to be the monkey in the middle?
You have me.
And I can't mess with baby brother because then we might fight a Red Lobster.
True. That would be bad.
And Bubba don't want to see us fight. That ain't what he wants his birthday.
Call the law.
If you do, take it outside.
Take it outside.
Take it out in the lobby.
That's the rule. Hey, first of all, grab you one of them cheese biggies and take it outside. Biscuit, take it outside.
I'm looking forward to those.
So anyway, we'll start that today, Bubba, and we'll build it over days. I mean, we'll build up to it since we're not going to be here on your actual day.
Yeah.
Red Lobster makes me think of when I was a kid. That would be our go-to after church. Is either that or a bucket of chicken. And I always want to go back to when I was a kid, but I don't want to do that in front of y'all and order a popcorn shrimp basket.
It is good.
That's kind of what I would always get.
I've got them several times.
But as a grown man, I hate to eat that.
I know.
I'll take a basket.
No, do they give you that menu you color on?
Yeah, Speedy will give me coloring the picture of the lobster. But here's the thing, you're right. I remember as a kid thinking, is there anything better than popcorn shrimp?
Oh, Rick. I remember sitting up thinking about it.
Rick, I still think that. What are you talking
about?
It
is good. I like endless shrimp. When they have the endless shrimp, you can just order any kind.
I might get popcorn shrimp today.
Do they have endless shrimp now?
Only on certain nights.
No. Yeah. But let me ask you this. What is popcorn shrimp?
Just tiny shrimps.
Is it?
Without the tail.
Well, we'll find out it's not.
Little tiny shrimp.
You remember the time you found out
that
baby
shrimp?
Rick, don't do that.
Well, no, you remember the time we found out not all scallops are actual scallops.
Actually stingrays.
See, I was told popcorn
some of them are
shrimp.
shark
cut them out like
fins or
cookies.
something.
I was always told popcorn shrimp was specifically for kids because they didn't have to deal with the tail.
Okay.
Now that may not be right, but that's why I was told.
They're a lot
as
smaller though. They're tiny little things.
Little shrimp.
They look just like the regular, but they're just tiny.
You ever got the little boiled ones that you put on your salad?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that a popcorn shrimp?
Yeah. It's
And
just
that
not fried.
that when you fry that in, that what?
That's what I'm
I
thinking.
think so.
$35 minutes past the hour. Rick and Bubba show. Everybody ready? Let's go. All right. So, believe it or not, Mike Lindell and the gang at My Pillow, they're continuing this $25 extravaganza sale. It's for the speedies everywhere. I mean, this is showing enough savings here. Beach towels, $25. My slippers, my sandals, $25. Giza, my pillows, $25. If you maybe need some, other bed sheets to maybe put, maybe you got a lake house, you got some kind of, hunting place or whatever, and you need to pick up some sheets, or maybe you're on the road and one of these RV families, you travel around. How about right now, My Pillow bed sheets, Giza Dream or Percale are $25. So you can pick up an extra pack. 4-pack of dish towels, $25. 2-pack multi-use My Pillows are $25. Many more. Just go to the extravaganza sale. By the way, if your order exceeds $75, say you get 3 items or more, free shipping. MyPillow.com/BigVox, BIGV as in voice, OX. And the $25 extravaganza sale is yours. The link also at rickandbubba.com under the sponsors. Bubba, now, did you have one more Fauci thing?
Yeah, there was one more thing kind of funny yesterday. I don't know how these people get in the audience behind these guys, but there was a guy behind Fauci yesterday making faces. And, of course, it's funny. It's kind of sad that they get in to do this because we see it on both sides.
Yeah,
This
sure.
is not, they always get in and pull these things
right,
off.
yeah.
But you got to see this guy. He's got some great facial expressions.
The guy sitting,
He'll be over Fauci's left shoulder, so he'll be on the right side of the screen. If this is the angle, I think it is.
Okay. All right.
So, Dr. Fauci, can you please share with us the nature of the threats you have received since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, there have been everything from harassments by emails, texts, letters of myself, my wife, my 3 daughters. There have been credible death threats leading to the arrests of 2 individuals, and credible death threats mean someone who clearly was on their way to kill me. And it's required my having protective services essentially all the time. It is very troublesome to me. It is much more troublesome because they involve my wife and my 3 daughters.
Fauci a little choked up
At
there.
these moments, how do you feel?
That's always what they want to know on the left.
Keep your mic on.
Terrible.
Do you continue to receive threats today?
Yes, I do. Every time someone gets up and says I'm responsible for the death of people throughout the world, the death threats go up.
And we're not laughing at the death threats. We're laughing at the guy.
Well, no, I don't think you ought to have death threats. I think you ought to be in a jail somewhere.
Yes,
Well, no, when you think about that, and this is why the guy's pouting.
If you'd have just been honest from the beginning, Fauci, we could believe the rest of it. You were dirty on point number 1, so how do we believe anything after that?
Right.
You knew exactly where it came from.
It's also a ploy. I don't know what has or hasn't happened.
He's trying to deflect.
But I will say this. I'm sure people have threatened to kill Dr. Fauci. They've threatened to kill me before. I mean, but not to that level because of what he's talking about. But it can happen in a crazy society. However, this is the typical thing you have to always watch for. Remember, the woman interviewing him told you everything you need to know about the left and how they operate. Tell us how you feel. Not tell us why you lied to everybody about gain of function research you were doing in Wuhan, China that caused this thing to get away. Don't explain to us why you wouldn't just come out and tell everybody so we would know how to defend it properly. She wants to know how he feels about people being mad about being lied to and how things happened that probably wouldn't have happened, and how people lost their businesses, and how people didn't get to see people before they died, and how people were pushed into nursing homes that were highly susceptible. People's lives were completely destroyed, mainly because he wouldn't tell the truth. She doesn't want to know how he feels about that. She wants to know how he feels about people who are mad at him to the point they want to kill him. That's what she wants to know.
Yep.
And that's why the guy behind him was doing the pouty face, even though I'm not condoning that. I just understand it.
And look, nobody should be receiving death threats.
No.
Okay? Dr. Fauci's not the only one that gets death threats.
No.
Every one of the Republicans get death threats every day. As a matter of fact, the only one to be shot recently was a Republican at a softball practice, Steve Scalise.
Correct.
That was all wound up because of some things that Bernie Sanders had been pushing. Remember?
Yep.
So let's not play that card. Let's stay with the facts here on this. Really, honestly, him getting death threats has nothing to do with this issue. I thought we were following the science.
But Bubba, it doesn't.
There is no science to that. Nobody cares.
Bubba, but you have to
got
talk about
protective
that.
services.
Bubba, we have to talk about that because we know how he feels.
Yeah.
And what we're hoping is it will make you have sympathy for him,
Well,
even though you'll forget about what you're really mad about.
It's just a deflection tactic for we're choked up, we're this, that. That ain't got nothing to do with this hearing. We're talking about how we acted, how we reacted to the pandemic, and what we need to change next time. Because, folks, there will be a next time.
What somebody should have said is, thank you very much for this, whatever this was. Now, Buttercup, let me talk to you about this. Okay, let's suck it up a little bit, Buttercup. One of the reasons we're in this situation is why we're here. Now, let's talk about you lying to us and why you won't come clean, and why you started claiming. Do you love the fact that he would say anything that refuted him was anecdotal, but the things he was putting out and enforcing on us could not have been any more anecdotal?
Yeah, and do you love to, like, take for instance when we're looking into something, the way they have looked into Trump's finances. Okay, we really never hear much about Fauci's finances. Who is he in bed with? Where's he making his money from? You know, are there any deals going on the side with him and some of these drug companies we need to know about? What kind of percentage stock does he own in those? I mean, we hear that all the time, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
We don't hear a lot about it with him.
No.
I mean, if we're going to look into it, let's look into it. Let's get the whole picture.
Yeah. I'd like for him to. You think he has any? Does he have any heartstrings at all about people who didn't feel good about an experimental vaccine, that because of him it was forced on them, or they lose their job, or they're kicked out of the military, and now they have all kinds of side effects that are a result of them being forced to take a vaccine they didn't want to take? Does he have any heartstrings about that?
Again, nobody deserves death threats. But let me tell you what's worse than a death threat: somebody actually dying from your vaccine. That's worse.
It is.
Rick, you can't say heartstrings when it comes to the COVID vaccine. That's.
I thought it was working because of the myocarditis thing.
So an Oxford study just came out because they were trying to blame this huge increase in myocarditis and pericarditis in kids. They're trying to blame that on COVID as well. An Oxford study just came out that it shows the people that have COVID versus the people that were vaccinated. The myocarditis and pericarditis in children is in the vaccinated population, not in the population that just got COVID.
Right.
That's an Oxford study that just came out.
Yeah. It's a mess, and I think there's a lot of things that can't be repaired, but I tell you one thing we can get to is the truth. Let's at least get to the truth, and then we can decide what we want to do with it.
Yep.
And
you know, I kind of hate that the hearing was on the House side because we didn't get to hear Rand Paul.
I know.
That may be coming later.
That may make Fauci cry again, because I'm sure one of his death threats may have come from Rand Paul.
Yeah,
Rick, well, who knows? I don't see his email.
Hey, nobody deserves death threats. Okay,
no,
but there are things worse.
There are
actually dying from it.
Well, it comes from it also comes with the territory.
Yep.
If you're gonna, unfortunately, because there's a lot of crazy people out there, if you step out on a public platform, especially to the level he was.
He's the highest paid civilian employee that the United States has.
Or a president, or anybody who has a public platform, death threats are part of it, and we all know it. And as you said, there's no group of people that has the corner market on death threats.
No.
As a matter of fact, as you pointed out again, some of those that claim to be the most loving and the most understanding and the most open-minded are the high. They'll death threat you in a minute.
Oh yeah.
If you have the audacity to disagree with them, mainly because they become maniacal because they're run by their emotions, not logic. They're not the clearest, level-headed thinking folk. We'll be back. Phone calls are next. We'll send Speedy in there, and we'll do our first phone troll of the day, Patriot Mobile phone troll. So if you want to be part of that, fire up. We'll get phone calls in here. We'll go 30 seconds a pop. We'll roll through it quickly when the Rick and Bubba show continues right after this.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
I think you probably can buy them in different sizes. You know, they harvest them at different times.
Here's what shrimps. Yeah, caution: the American Heart Association may literally turn off the show right now. But what I remember is with popcorn shrimp, you could take your ketchup, and then you could get your popcorn shrimp multiples, just a pile of them. Yeah, and because you can't dip them; they're too small. So you
get them on your fork.
Yeah, you just get them with the ketchup and just maybe 10 of them on a fork.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Oh yeah. Golly, I'm hungry.
Some alarm just went off somewhere. I know. But anyway, so that we'll just have. You know what's going to be? It's going to be fun.
It is.
I hope
it's going to be fun.
And you know what?
Fun on the stick.
And you know what I'm going to say about what we're ordering? Nothing.
Nope. We're going to order what we want.
And can't nobody bring up. We don't need to order whatever.
That's right. That's right.
Do whatever.
That's
birthday
right.
meal.
That's right. Then maybe we'll get through the night without cardiac arrest, and we'll do better again tomorrow.
That's right. Always start over.
We'll chase it with a salad.
If you fall off the wagon, you get right back on.
Well, yeah, that's the key. Just don't do that every day.
Get back on it.
Yeah. Just don't do it every day.
Have a banana this afternoon. Clear it up.
Just don't do it. Just say don't do that every day.
That's it.
All right, so Bubba, I know that when we left you yesterday, we had an attempt again to try to find why water keeps coming through your light fixtures and your speakers. And
it's not good.
Rick, being a highly trained broadcast engineer, water dripping out of a light bulb is not something that we promote. I think we finally found it yesterday. You know, we did last time. We thought maybe it's this valve. We couldn't really get it dialed in. but we found a cracked. Well, actually, it was a piece of pipe that had come off the fitting on the ice maker on the refrigerator up top. I mean, the thing was sticking out. And when it would call for water, it was just squirting it right in the corner.
So,
oh wow!
So did the only way to find that? Did we finally have to say let's go in, guys? Did we have to go?
No, we didn't. We actually.
Oh, that's big. See, that's big.
Yeah, we found out. You know how these things on the backside, you always go, well, logically, we see where we messed up. Apparently, the ice machine had been cut off. The ice maker had been cut off before, so it wasn't leaking. So when we were looking for the leak, we couldn't find it. But if you cut it on, hey, she'll throw water out. I mean, just squirt. It looks like it was taking a leak.
Oh, man.
Wow.
I mean,
really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good one.
Like that little cartoon boy, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, he's on everything, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
The one that's not like in Ford or Chevy, depending on what kind you're driving.
That's
right. So anyway, it was good. We got to the bottom of it. Doing a little drying out now. So, we'll be hopefully optimistic that was it, and all that'll be over with. But glad we found it.
That's big, and you didn't have to go into the sheetrock.
No,
because yesterday you were at the end of that. You were like,
oh yeah, I figured we're gonna have to cut a hole and somebody crawl up in there.
Somebody got to go find it.
Somebody gonna have to get in there and get it.
But we
got
found
to go
it.
digging.
That we found.
So that was good.
So it came off the fitting, or did it?
Yeah, it actually just in your ice maker in the top of your refrigerator. If you're looking at the back of it, you got some little tubing and all this, and after it cuts the water on and off, it sends it over to where it goes out into the ice maker, and that little pipe, just a tiny little plastic pipe, had popped off the fitting,
and it would just.
Hate to bring this up again, but this never ending thing with any form of ice maker. And
ice makers are killers, man. They are.
They are.
Of all type. The kind in your refrigerator, the independent kind. Yeah. Always something.
Sometimes you just want to go back to the trays, fill them up, put them in there, and crack them.
Yeah, I know it. You remember those days? Pull the lever up, crack them loose.
No, we never had that kind of money. We had the kind you had to twist.
You didn't have the ones with the metal in it?
No, we didn't have.
And what if you didn't fill them up?
Hey, if you were the last one to use them and didn't fill them up,
that happened a lot.
Oh, baby.
Well, and two, the problem when you fill them up, you're more apt to spill it. And you'd take a half step or somebody, something not be just right, and you'd throw half of it and flow. See, I remember those days. Not everybody remembers.
Or what about when you like you say you didn't? Yeah, you would be a piece of ice this thin because you halfway did.
Yeah, you didn't fill it up. I think the same person, the same mentality of not filling up the ice trays was that same mentality of I won't quite drink the last bit of milk or the last bit of tea or the last bit of whatever's in the refrigerator, because then I've got to make more. I've got to fill it back up. I'll always leave just a little bit in there.
Just a little.
So whoever comes up next is the one's going to do it.
So, but y'all remember y'all remember those trays where you'd fill the water?
Of course.
And it had that lever. And
Oh, yeah,
I think
you
you
pull
pulled it up,
metal.
and it would crack everything loose.
We never had those. Ours was always the plastic.
Yeah, well, we had money.
Really. Yeah, I knew. Y'all had a little more money. Government job.
Whenever I would go over a friend's house, I would see those.
Non-appropriated funds.
Right.
You had to generate your own.
But boy, I can remember if Mama came in there and those ice trays were sitting over there with no water in it,
I know.
and all of a sudden everybody getting ready for dinner, and you forgot to fill them back up.
God, I'm gonna take you. I know. It sounds
that
like
just made me scared.
People speak. It's the Patriot Mobile phone troll. Make your phone money matter. Switch to patriotmobile.com/bigbox today for free activation. Let's have it go at 212. The Calvin Speedy Wilburn takes your phone calls 30 seconds a pop. At the end of 30 seconds, your buzzer sounds. Your time on the program is done. We get to the next caller. Alan out of Clanton, Alabama. Hey, that's down there where I live, near Clanton. He will get us started. Trolling. Keep them phones a trolling. Here we come, phone trolling, phone troll. Alan, go ahead. 30 seconds. How about you?
Good morning. Hey, I just wanted to wish all you homophobes a super uncomfortable Pride Month.
What did he say?
Thank you.
You got it. Did he say?
No.
Okay, buddy. Thanks.
I would say if you're going to stay on hold to shout something out that you're really wanting to get out to the public, I'd make it so we could understand it.
You know what?
Yeah, get a little better quality.
There's no doubt he might have sincerely meant that, but sadly I also saw that meme from
the LGBT community sending it out to
I couldn't hear. I couldn't say what he was saying.
I heard every single word. I think he was just joking around.
Yeah, but
that's all he was doing.
Yeah. So anyway,
whatever. Either way,
it wasn't very good, but he was, a good effort. I'll say that.
And if he
Good
wasn't,
effort.
okay. Not.
Inverness, Morris is standing by. Morris, 30 seconds, go.
How y'all doing? I listen to y'all every day as an Uber driver. I left California because of COVID, and when Fauci said I am the science, he was telling the truth.
What he was telling the truth about what?
He is the science.
He is science? Fauci?
When he was on the news telling everybody they need to follow the science, and then he blurted out, "I am the science."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yes.
Yes, you are. I hate to point this out. It's unscientific to say I am the science.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Science. James in Huntsville, 100.3 The River. James, go ahead.
Greg.
Hey.
Eat shit, Speedy. You're a dumbass still.
Oh my.
That one.
No, at least he paired us up.
Yeah, he did.
That's been an active phone segment.
It's
corporate drive, buddy.
The more I think
what's the address?
In the state of phones, the more you start thinking going forward. Are they really necessary? I mean, do they bring anything to the table?
I know.
I've been saying this
as
for
the
years.
IQs drop.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's right. Because there was a time when calls represented the current state of society, but I guess I've forgotten. They still do. The fact that they do, I see the state of society, and frankly, there's most of them you wouldn't want to hear from.
Yeah.
And the effort is what I like.
Right. Yeah. Again, I'm gonna say it. I've said it again. We've been saying it. If you are a person and you believed in evolution, you got to come off that now. We are not evolving.
No.
I mean,
we're going the wrong way.
We continue. Bubba, would you like to hear from Keith the chemist?
I absolutely would.
All right, Keith the chemist. 30 seconds now, Keith. Here we go. Keep it tight.
Hey, brother. Thank you very much. All right, I was watching the Fauci thing yesterday, and he is throwing that other doctor, his right-hand man, under the bus. That's the guy that's going to take the fall. I guess his name is Dr. Marin or something like that.
Yeah.
Watch what Fauci does to him.
So he's going to be the
These people
scapegoat?
are not ever going to take the fall. He's going to put it on the next guy, and Fauci's going to walk away into the sunset.
Yeah, you're probably right. So he's giving us the name of who's going, because he realizes everybody's closing in.
Yeah.
So he's going to say, well, look, it wasn't my fault.
It's getting a little harder to cover this up.
Paul is watching us on YouTube. Paul in Georgia, go.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, Paul.
Based on the past couple of phone calls you've just had, not surprised the country's in the state we're in, and now I know who voted for Biden. So there's that.
Thanks. Lake Martin checking in. Jenny, go ahead.
Hey guys, I was just calling. I'm actually on the way to Birmingham right now, but I was listening in, and I had a comment about about everything that y'all have been talking about. I was one of the avoiders of getting the vaccination, and about a year and a half ago, I had to have surgery, and I had to have a blood transfusion, emergency blood transfusion during the surgery. And now my husband read an article about how that blood transfusion probably was vaccinated blood, and it was just something that I thought about that not many people may think about. If they do have to have surgery, you need to make sure that the blood was not vaccinated, that was transfused into you. So it's just an interesting something to think about.
Are you doing okay?
I'm doing okay, but what made me think or my husband think about it was that I've had some issues, gastro issues, and we've read up that's one of the issues you can have when you have the vaccination is gastro issues.
Did you
just not quite right.
Did you bring up those concerns to your doctor, and what did they say about it?
I have not spoken to my doctor about that. I have been going to a gastro doctor about the issues, but I mean, we recently just came up with this, and I haven't been back to my gastro doctor, but they're panning out.
I hope that.
It's just something to think about.
Yeah, well, it is interesting. Somebody was telling me And it was about giving blood the other day that they were asking something. I can't remember, and I thought it was a little, maybe it wasn't tied to that. I don't recall. I have to think about it.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, no doubt. We continue. Donnie in Calera. Donnie, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Just wanted to see your comments or hear your comments about where Pride Month has infiltrated our Navy SEALs. And I read that they are not happy about this, and several of the guys that have already retired were like, I am so glad I got out of this when I did. And, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Well, I need to know. Well,
there was an article.
You didn't get a timeout.
It was like a.
I don't know what you're talking about when you say.
Okay,
Greg and I briefly
what
discussed it.
Yeah, we saw the little clip. They had an ad or something.
Yeah,
that
it was rainbowed up.
You know, me personally, I wish we would keep the military out of, you know, all these cultural issues that are going on, because it really has nothing to do with their job and their mission, and that is, when told to do so, to kill people and break things.
And Rick, I didn't give him a timeout because I want to act like it didn't happen.
Right, yo, was that bad?
Yeah.
Well, FBI marched in a pride
please
parade.
look at this. Look at what's going on with our government agencies.
FBI marching in a pride parade.
Well, here's what I don't understand.
Are they really FBI? They borrowed the shirts.
They're
You know
really
what I'm
FBI.
saying?
That one guy's walking. That guy's walking like he borrowed one. Listen, here's where the levity is on this, okay? And that is, just don't have an opinion either way.
Yeah, nobody's telling you to promote one.
Do your job. Don't worry about all this other stuff.
See, we rightfully so. I think it would be wrong for government agencies to be going out doing something that was against members of the LGBT community, singling them out. And we go, well, that's not necessary. You don't have to agree with them, but you don't have to do that. But yet we don't have the same wisdom on there's no need to embrace, endorse, and celebrate either.
Yeah.
This is a pretty touchy topic when it comes to people's morality, and people are very passionate on whichever side of the belief system they're on, and the government really just needs to stay out of it.
Yeah.
And let's have, to your point, Bubba, let's have a really, really well-funded, well-trained military that can protect our liberty against our enemies around the world, okay? And let's have a government that just does the few things that the Founding Fathers gave them the job to do.
And then go home.
And just stay out of everybody's life, and everybody can live their life the way they want to, as long as I'm not harming anyone else.
Yeah, government has a job to do, but I think they should go about it in a way that it minimizes their interaction or interference with society.
See, what they're doing is saying you shouldn't have your own rights to have your own beliefs. They're endorsing certain beliefs above yours. They're picking and elevating one over the other. And you would be offended if it was the other way around.
Rick and Bubba.
Like the old guys telling stories, but
well, you know why? Because that's what we
There
are.
it is, Bubba.
Listen, I remember my grandparents had a room that was an ice room, and a guy brought a big block of ice in on hooks and put it in that room, and they'd go in there and chisel it off when they wanted it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I've heard them talk about old ice box refrigerators. They put the big.
Yeah,
like
well,
you're
this was
talking
a
about the
room.
Iceman, he would put in the top of it.
It was a room with a drain on it, and they'd go in there and chisel that stuff off, and what was melting would run out.
Yeah, I don't think I remember. I mean,
that was at my grandparents.
Yeah, well, like I say, that would have been probably our great grandparents.
They show up with a big block of ice.
Yeah,
yeah, with those big tongs, and I mean they'd bring it in there like a, it was like a.
How'd they do it
heavy.
again?
It was heavy. They'd struggle.
It was an ice business.
Everybody, get out of the way. Get out. Hold the door for the
Hold
ice
the door.
man.
Here comes the Iceman.
Hold the door.
Yeah,
dripping.
I remember the milkman, but never saw the Iceman.
Charlie Chips.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, but I do remember, like Greg's talking
I
about.
was just a little tyke.
You know, the first version.
You know how I remember stuff back then, Greg.
You know,
a lot better than I can yesterday.
That's a good point.
The first version of a what they called an ice chest or refrigerator was metal, and they would bring that block of ice, set it up on the top, and then everything you put in there would keep it cool.
And you would chip off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't live that. I've just
I
remember getting a drink. You have to chip your ice off, and they'd put it in there, old chunks, weird looking shapes and stuff.
I never had to deal with that.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite. It was half of one of those.
But I've heard of them.
I mean, it was a load for that guy bringing it in.
Yeah.
Everybody held doors open. You had one coming in the house, one going to that room, one to the ice box. They called it an ice box or something.
Yeah. No, you're right. It was something like that. And then
But I do remember Milkman with the glass bottles at the outside. I remember that, and the little metal thing that they would put them in.
Put them in a little carrier.
Yeah, and boiled chocolate milk.
When I was there and I'd get that orange in the summer or spring break, get that orangeade or the chocolate milk.
Oh, let me tell you, when they brought.
How about you used to have a guy bring chips to the house?
Yeah,
Charlie Chips.
Yeah, big truck pull up and bring that big.
And by the way, that thing made the best snare drum.
Oh, it
you
did.
could throw a chain in the bottom, put paper in it, and it was an awesome snare drum.
If you
it was multi-use.
If you think about it, with the Milkman, the Chip Man, the Ice Man, we were way ahead on e-commerce.
Now we're coming back to it. We're coming back.
Hey, the garbage man would even walk the can around.
I wonder if they'll start that.
But e-commerce is nothing new. We're just ordering it on computer. We used to have stuff brought to the house all the time.
Charles Chip.
Rick, this is what's funny. If you stand back and look at it far enough, everything just repeats itself.
Yeah, it does.
You know, everything was at home for a while. You had the doctor came to your house, the chip guy came to your house, the Avon Land, the milkman, the Avon, everybody.
You remember the Avon
Then
Lady?
we all went to stores. Now we're moving back to everybody come to your house.
Yeah, that's true.
Solomon said it best. Nothing's new under the sun.
Nope, no.
It's all been done.
Yeah, I kind of hate Charlie Chip, man. That played out.
Because you got to know your Charlie Chip guy. You speak to him when he come up. Hey, Chip Man's here.
I mean, we had 12 people come to our house every week. Yeah. I mean, it was a party.
You know about kind of like now?
That's how you got the news.
Yeah.
Hey, did y'all hear about that?
Well, so-and-so ain't doing too good.
We'll be back 15 minutes to the top of the hour. Your phone calls at 866-WE-BE-BIG.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
I was a kid.
Back in the day. Well, let me tell you, Sonny.
Ain't like it is today.
I remember you had to get up and change the channel.
Oh, we had a
We
remote.
didn't have these newfangled mobile phones. I was my daddy's remote.
Yeah, I started to say we had a remote. It was called "Get Up and Change It to 13."
Yeah. What about when the dial came off? You had to put a pair of pliers in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Daddy wasn't gonna get a new TV.
No.
Or just leave vice grips on it.
Yeah.
Just leave them on there.
Yeah, always there. Always there. Hey, let me ask you this. So when since we're thinking about when we were little boys and kids, when all these things were happening.
Back in the day.
If somebody told you that the man you were talking to was 57, how did you see him?
Oh, I thought I thought 1 foot in the grave.
Old as dirt.
Old over the hill.
You remember how 57 felt?
Oh yeah.
Anything 40 and over was ancient.
Oh, you got the 40s.
Yeah.
The thing that's blowing my mind is now I can look at my parents and remember vividly eras of my life and how I saw them as my parents as being these older people and realizing that I'm not just a little bit older than they were then, I'm a lot older than they were
Yeah.
then. Like I'm thinking about Dad going to Jacksonville State when he first took that job.
Yeah.
What was he like?
40-something.
40-something? And I remember thinking, Dad's getting toward the end of the career.
Yeah, oh man.
He's
just barely getting by.
He's moving on. He had a huge career, years in high school.
For some reason,
now he's taking his college job as an older man. He was in his 40s.
I remember when my dad turned 54, and I don't know why. It's just jumping out at me. And I thought, my gosh, he's old. And my Uncle Bill, I remember when he turned 50, I was like, my goodness, they're
Bill's
ancient.
getting old.
You know? Now, Duke has always been young to me in my mind because he was just out there dancing.
Well, he's a lot on his feet.
Yeah.
That's right.
Look, anybody who dances like Duke.
If you got good footwork, you always seem like you're younger.
Yeah.
And
unlike President Biden, who does that old man shuffle.
Right.
And I always thought my parents had it
doesn't work
going
good
on.
with stairs, by the way.
Yeah, it's odd to watch Tim Conway be the leader of the free world.
Yeah.
The old man he played on the Carol Burnett show.
Right. But I always thought, too, that, I mean, they didn't have any handles. You know, my parents, they were handling everything because they did a good job of hiding it from us. But now that I'm older and a parent, I realize, wow, they probably had a lot of closed-door discussions about old little Calvin. Being a handle.
Sure.
Yeah. How about the speaking of Tim Conway and
redhead,
and that old man that he played. Yeah. By the way, still seeing redheaded people everywhere. All right, so
we're people. We exist.
Y'all's numbers are way up. I mean, way up. And I mean, I saw. Have you ever seen like we're Hendrick drivers? Have you ever seen?
And a blues man on the back and a beautician at the wheel. Everybody say. town in the middle of the night. Yeah, we laughing and we joking and we're feeling all right. A brand new hour of the Rick and Bubba show right now. Hello, America. Yeah, I'm bad. Somebody say it. I'm nationwide. Bubba, Dr. Phil, again.
One of the great philosophers of our time.
Like you said earlier in the show, apparently he's not afraid of Oprah anymore. He felt like, would you say she was not going to marry Stedman or stay with Stedman?
I think
couldn't win her
she's
over?
off the table. Yeah.
Off the table, Big O.
Yep.
Dr. Phil is calling on President Biden to do something. You may be surprised what Dr. Phil says for the good of the country. And Dr. Phil's going to go on a tirade here. He's going to get himself canceled.
Yep.
So here is Dr. Phil.
I don't like seeing the weaponization of our justice system, agencies, and powerful government actions that, frankly, just make my skin crawl for all of us and for my grandchildren. And let's be honest, this is so not just about Trump. If you let your hatred for Donald Trump compromise your ability to find true north on your moral compass, shame on you. If you let your disgust for Biden make you blind to the inevitable consequences of pursuing revenge, then God help the children who will inherit the dystopian nightmare we create. We need leaders who will pledge to end this vicious cycle right now and return us to that safe place where our institutions are no longer bastardized and weaponized, but rather simply serve their intended purpose. We have serious problems to solve, and it will take serious people to solve them. Men and women who we hold accountable for doing that which they were selected or hired to do. They need to know we are watching, and their positions are privileges, not legacies. They work for us until they don't. I'm not into politics. I claim no expertise, nor do I seek any. I don't advocate voting for one candidate over another. I stay in my lane addressing human behavior collectively, culturally, and am focused on how we can have maximum control in our lives and turn this ship of state called America in the right direction and get her back on track so we can be proud. That's my mission, and this is a call to action to save our collective soul and sanity. This is also a call to redemption, healing, and forgiveness that leads to peace among us all, which is the most important gift we can share in our dangerous world. The current administration could and should do the right thing. Dismiss now, even now, post-conviction of a political opponent, all such lawfare, and pledge to return to the normal functioning of a government rightly run. God bless you all, and God bless these United States of America.
Good night, Dr. Phil. Good gracious, Phil. Good night.
Dr. Phil just got my vote.
That's about as well communicated as I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, it was flawless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, extremely well communicated.
And Hams, I think you
Here,
said
here.
it. I think you said it in the break. He's basically calling for Biden to come in and clear all this up. And
Well, good luck with that.
And that would help Biden, believe it or not.
It really would.
help
I think
Biden.
it would help Biden.
Yeah.
But he won't do it.
No.
And this judge is not going to back down either. I think he thinks now he is unstoppable, and he has done what nobody else could do. He's hung some convictions on Trump, and I think he will go pedal to the floor all the way on this, and he'll lock him up as long as he can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think that if people think, well, he wouldn't do that because no, you don't understand. This is their grand moment in the sunshine. They want to make all they can out of it.
You're right, and and
coup de grace.
Yes, the whole forgive. This, I know we've said it before, but it really, really is true. What Mandela said, and is that when you hold bitterness against someone and you will not forgive them, and you are out to destroy them, and you just you can't get them out of your own. And he said it's like you drinking poison and expect someone else to die.
Yeah,
I mean, just we don't always have to agree on everything. We can certainly get upset about things. We can be bothered by things, but what we've turned into now is that word maniacal keeps coming up. It's just I just get a crazed desire to just annihilate and destroy anything that opposes me or somebody who made me mad. And it just is going to keep, like he talks about, what we're going to leave for our kids it's going to get to the point where it's going to be unrepairable. And maybe we're already
past
well,
that.
there are many, and it's just hard for me to do that because even though I have been rightly accused by my wife that I protect little Rick's heart, and so I'll think of the worst case scenario first. So then when that doesn't happen, I feel like it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Right.
I am that guy. I do that, but I am optimistic and don't like to be negative. And
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
It's just I've been down this road so many times on so many issues. I know what's coming, so I hate to be negative, but
Right.
I don't want to be an idiot and lie to myself and
Right.
everybody around me either.
Right, exactly.
I play idiot enough.
I think this is a better way to put it. Do I think that our country is in dire trouble and likely unrepairable? Yes. What I will say, though, is that's not where I find my peace. It's not where I find my joy. And it's not going to rob me of sleeping like a baby.
Right.
Because I don't put my trust in this government. I don't put my trust in this government. That's not where my trust and my hope and my joy lies. So I would prefer it not to fall apart. But at the end of the day, because of what Christ said in John 16:33, everything really is going to be all right for the redeemed. Now, if you're not redeemed, I guess you do have to find your hope somewhere else, and those things get taken away from you all the time. They're fleeting, as we have been told. So we'll see. But what Dr. Phil, back to the original point, what he just communicated. I mean, Bubba, it was so well communicated. You don't even have to do Dr. Phil because he covered it. He covered it, and I think it was important.
And he had no examples of small animals.
No, he didn't.
In the woods or
He
crossing
didn't.
the road. None of that.
Would you say our country's kind of like a possum?
It's like a young colt.
Right. And I like that he made it clear that he's not advocating a candidate, a political party, and he said something that would be wonderful to all of us to adapt, to stay in your lane. And he said, I know what I'm here to do. I'm not some political expert, but I think we can all look at this and think this is not the way to go.
Yeah, you remember I had made a point when Biden first went in, President Biden, that he said he wanted to unify, he wanted to do this, wanted to do that. And the House was still prosecuting Trump on impeachment issues. It was right before he was inaugurated.
Right.
And the thing to have done right then would have been to cut that off and say, look, we're going to let this go. I'm the president. We're going to move forward. You're only going, even for your own political agenda, you only keep him on the front pages.
Right.
Which that clearly, I think we all can agree that has not worked.
No.
Okay. You're not going to embarrass his listeners or his followers away. You're not going to prosecute his followers away and his voters away. And really, the only way that you're ever going to see a decline in that is if you just leave him alone and let him burn out.
Yep.
Yep. I've never understood their strategy of just being obsessed with him to keep it going. And then here we are right now. He is the leader in most polls for the White House.
Yep. We'll be back 15 minutes past the hour. Other things to talk about today. I see a couple of stories that I think we may find interesting, too, so stay close. We'll be back.
Rick and Bubba.
How red Joel Smith's little boy is, the little one.
The youngest one.
The youngest one. I mean, it's like his head's on fire. I mean, it's like his hair is just.
We're not aliens. We're,
I know
we're
it's
people.
Just, I know. No,
it's not bad.
redheaded. I'm just saying.
He got his head on fire.
Yeah, I'm just saying this is your time. I mean, you guys, the redheads.
Watch out.
Yeah,
Taking over?
It's getting to the point where you're gonna find people say, "Don't be tan, be lily white."
Yeah,
be like the redheads.
That's in.
Red
is in.
Freckle it up. So, but anyway, so talking about the Carol Burnett show, I mentioned it with Tim Conway, and he played that old man that shuffled and all that.
That's
So,
funny.
So I saw Carol Burnett in an interview, that this was, I don't know when it was a few years ago, but I just now saw it. So you think about, and I just love these little tidbits when you find out how things happened that became so popular and, like nobody wanted anything to do with it. You go back to the Seinfeld show where they said really the first run, it was a disaster and everybody said this is the loser and, and then how things happened. So anyway, she was doing the story about her trying to make it as a young actress / comedian and her trying to go to New York and think she needed to leave and crying in her room and all this kind of stuff. And anyway, so when she finally started picking up a little momentum and she was a success on some kind of Broadway play of some kind she finally got, and she told the whole story how we don't have time for all that, but that was also pretty fascinating. But the thing we know as kids, back to kids again, was, and it was either Wednesday or Thursday night, I think, I don't remember, what night of the week was the Carol Burnett show? Was it Saturday night? Was it Saturday night? I don't remember. It was on CBS. It was on CBS.
Saturday night.
It might have been. I don't remember. But anyway, so she, leverages everything. So she got into a contract situation with CBS, and they wanted her to be on another guy that had a very successful variety show. Oh, I can't think of his name, but she was a regular part of the team on there. And the variety shows, were big, but it was all men doing them at the time. So her agent, who was really, really good, he put in her contract that, if for 5 years, if she calls it, you have to give her own variety show on CBS. I mean, if she says, I want to take this clause in my contract and I want to implement it, then they had to give her, and they had to guarantee and pay her for at least 30 weeks of it. You had to it had to be given a 30-week run. Wow. And so she said, frankly, the guy forgot about it in the contract because I didn't think I ever wanted to do that. I was like, I don't want to do that. And she goes, and so things started changing with her family, things started changing with kids, and she wanted a little more stability. Talked to her husband about it. She calls the guy she's worked for at CBS and says, I'd like to implement the clause. And he says, I don't even know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And she said there was only like 4 months left before the 5-year window was up. And she said he went and found that in the contract, and he was like, you don't want to do that. I mean, really? We don't want to you don't want to do your own variety show and all that. And basically, she got her shot because the CBS had no choice. They'd wanted her for something else. They're like, yeah, thinking that'll never happen.
She'll never do it. Yeah.
And but if she played, and she acted like she didn't. She even told her agent like, and she said, no, just have it in there. You never know.
Smart. And I think she was like the first woman to host a variety show.
And of course, it was a big hit.
Sure. Remember she did the Tarzan Yell?
Yeah. And she said variety shows like that. Find out where that came from. Said variety shows like that can't be done today because no network with all the competition now, because there are only 3 then, would give you that kind of budget. Yeah. Top of the hour.
Rick and Bubba.
Now we go from cutting up, talking lighthearted, to going back to serious again. Looks like we have another mass shooting in Boulder, Colorado. Is that right?
Yeah, 10 people were killed, Rick, including a veteran police officer during a mass shooting Monday inside a grocery store in Boulder, Colorado. Authorities said at a press conference yesterday that the officer who was killed was identified as Eric Talley, 51, who had served on the force since 2010. He was the first officer at King, Supers, the store. The crime scene after the shooting occurred at about 2:30 p.m. local time. They're saying his actions were heroic. He was a father of 7. The youngest is 7 years old. He loved his kids and his family more than anything, according to his dad.
So we're trying to figure out this person says the suspect, who was not identified, is receiving medical treatment. They escorted, as you see in one of the pictures I'm looking at here, a shirtless man with blood running down his leg out of the store in cuffs. And now I guess we'll start the unpacking of the shooter.
We're back. 21 minutes now past the hour. Thank you for being here today. All right, so we do love when we see the left, collapsing on top of themselves. Bubba, it sounds like we've got a standoff When you start talking about the Joshua trees, ooh, buddy.
Rick, I think we need a global warming update.
But when you start talking about Joshua trees, then what we get on the other end of the spectrum. So we'll hit that. Now keep in mind, as we talked about the inconsistencies a moment ago, the LGBTQs, the gays for Palestine, that's tough. Those that want us all to be mandated a vaccine but still believed in open borders, odd. And now, Bubba, it's going to be the pursuit of solar power. But, Bubba,
I love solar power.
It comes at a price.
Burn, baby, burn.
Burn. So, Bubba, do tell, what's going on?
Rick, you won't believe this. In Southern California, there is a project. It is a 2,300-acre solar project going up near Boron in Southern California, B-O-R-O-N, the Kern County. And Rick, to put this giant solar project together, they're having to cut down 100-year-old Joshua trees.
No. How old are they?
They are cutting down 100-year-old Joshua trees to help the environment.
100.
I want to mourn the loss of all the old growth trees I've seen and tell them that we love them.
There they are, right there, the beautiful Joshua
100
trees.
years.
Part of the California desert landscape will be cut down to make room for the solar-powered farm. 2,300 acres of it, Rick. They say it'll generate intermittent power for 180,000 homes in the coastal area. Besides the destruction of the old trees, the residents living near the project say county and state officials who approved the project have ignored their concerns about construction dust and the impact to the endangered desert tortoise.
We got a desert tortoise and Joshua trees. All will pay the price for solar panels.
That's fine.
This is brought to you by the same bunch that kills eagles for windmills.
Yes, that's right.
Hey, them solar panel fields, they're real good to look at too.
Look,
Ain't that a beaut?
I ain't got a problem with them, but it is quite ironic that they're cutting down 100-year-old Joshua trees, which, by the way, are just beautiful. That's a magnificent scenery there for the desert.
Bubba,
to make solar power, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of funny. I don't know how you don't laugh at that.
Well, again, it's another one of those movies, but I don't think the left would like the way they would be cast, because in our movie, the tortoise and the Joshua trees would be the heroes.
Yes.
And the evil developers would be the solar panel.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's...
So, and there's no telling what else they'll destroy with all that. But, you know, I love solar panels. I like solar power. I wish it was more efficient. I wish it was a better way. The sun is where we get all of our energy. We just got to have a better way to capture it and store it. Because the sun doesn't shine all the time.
Even your very story said it's not going to be able to provide full power.
No,
it's going to be supplemental.
Yeah. Well, you know, funny, solar panels don't generate power at night or if they're covered in clouds.
Yeah, and
they have to have sun. That's how it works.
And to Greg's point, they're a little bit ugly.
Yeah. They are.
You know, when we were in Orlando, I was amazed at how many we saw up and down the interstate. I mean, there are just miles and miles of them. I don't know. Some of the people had called and said, you know, what they were generating the power for, but it's pretty impressive. But you know, you have to think about all that water land.
I know.
They don't call it swamp water. What do they call it?
Pristine.
Well, they've got another name they got for it, but anyway, you know, a lot of that had to be filled in.
So if I pull up with bulldozers ready to build an office building, then I'm the worst human being on the planet, because I'm plowing down Joshua trees and killing the endangered desert tortoise.
Right.
But if I come up with bulldozers and I'm clearing the land for solar panels, I'm a hero for the earth.
Well, that appears to be the way that this is judged right now. Hey, what's he got there?
Well,
and
the tortoise may thrive on the solar panel.
Someone who hasn't listened today.
What is that?
Very easy.
You know,
vest
it's
and my turban.
Stoney can't believe it.
It's amazing how we look at some of this stuff.
Yeah, just so I can let the audience know that thinks that we're all before their very eyes starting to go into the early stages of Alzheimer's. What's happening is while we're doing stories, there are TVs on in the room. And I know I've had to say this a few times. And one of our favorites is anything involving local TV morning shows. They never fail to deliver. So in the middle of us doing a narrative, we may start commenting on something y'all can't see. But I want you to know that we all pretty much still have our cognitive skills. And there's something happening on TV4 right now that somebody write down that website. And
I can't see it anymore. My eyesight's leaving me.
And just to let you know, if you ever hear us say, "Oh no, Ronald McDonald's back," just
let it go.
It's the Reggae Street International Festival or
So
something.
you went ahead and said it.
Yeah, I checked it out.
But what's that? But Pal looks like a dental hygienist.
Right. Why is he wearing a mask talking about coming? Do you think, honestly, does anyone think Bob Marley would have wore a mask?
No.
Okay.
What I feel like you probably can't hear him real good, but
I bet.
I've got to
anyway,
get the host's
that's a whole
cell phone
nother
number
thing.
so I can text and go, what's going on?
Say, seriously, let me in on this.
So anyway, those of you that love the Joshua trees and love the desert tortoise, don't worry. Their deaths are worth it because it's all so we can have solar panels.
Do you think while they cut those trees down, do you think that there'll be available Joshua tree firewood?
Oh, Bubba.
Well, why
Picture
not?
those in little
Let's
packs.
get some good use out of it.
That's right.
Or I mean, can you make lumber out of it? Does anybody know? You get a
Sit
nice
around.
Joshua tree barn or something.
If you've got a fire pit, sit around and fellowship to the embers produced by the beautiful 100-year-old Joshua tree.
Yes.
I would be
100-year-old. I bet they burn good.
I would be in for that.
Oh,
Would you?
I know.
Oh, some friends of ours just said they're headed that way to Joshua Tree in 2 weeks.
No, probably not.
Well, not on that 2,300 acres.
There's 2,300 acres of it you're not going to see.
Yep.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I thought our whole thing was we weren't supposed to disrupt the natural growth of anything. Let it be pristine and the way it was always. Whenever you think we evolved from something or nothing.
Still
Yes.
Well, Rick, we all know basic science says that you have a lot of things that come from nothing. That's been out there a long time.
Bubba, let's do your analogy. Let's put a pile of rocks right there in the middle of the floor. Can I get a computer out of that?
Hey, 5 million years from now, it'll still be a pile of rocks.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Right.
It's not going to turn into anything else.
So you're saying the computer...
It probably won't even be a good pile of rocks at that point.
Are you saying the computers I see that they didn't just happen on their own?
No. No, they actually had to have somebody come up with the idea and build it.
Oh, you mean a creator?
Yes,
Okay.
they did. They had a plan, put it together, made a circuit board.
Okay.
It all
Well, how
started
about
working.
that? How about that? By the way,
still going.
The host of one of our local shows, he can't believe it.
Yeah.
This is one of
right now he'd like to take a hammer to his producer.
Right.
Boy, would he. I mean,
yeah. We'll be back. Bottom of the hour.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
We don't have that person identified yet. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Right.
and it was kind of strange. I saw the clip yesterday when they were walking him out. He had blood running down his leg and limping. He was shirtless, didn't have any pants on. It didn't look like, just some shorts. But they really didn't even say for sure that was the shooter at one point. So, but according to witnesses, he had a long rifle with him. And was wearing what looked like tactical gear. So I don't know if they took all that off of him before they brought him out or what.
Must have. Maybe they were trying to make sure he didn't have hand grenades or anything on him, and they just went ahead and stripped him down to be sure he didn't have anything else he could use, I guess, or detonate something.
I think that would be a logical guess on this.
So we don't know a lot about him now. Speedy seemed to indicate in the break that there's already starting to be some sort of conversations. You know, immediately. Bubba, we always do we must know why.
Yeah.
We must know why. And so what did you say?
Yeah, that was the Atlanta shooting, what I was telling you in the break.
Oh, okay, that was
Yes,
a different one.
Yeah,
Okay, never
yeah.
mind. All right, now, so we have not begun.
Sadly, we've had so many shootings here recently. That one was the Atlanta shooting, where they're now trying to blame that man's church on the way
Is this
he was
back
feeling
on the massage parlors and all this kind of
yeah.
stuff?
Their teachings at the church that made him feel guilty for his sexual addictions and stuff like that. So they're going after that church now.
Well, this goes back to all of this. And Bubba and I, gosh, Bubba, sadly, in the 27 years, we've had to speak into these microphones about mass shootings far too many times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like if you want to have and I know this has been said every time, if you want to have a comprehensive look at a society that produces these kinds of people, I'm fine with it.
Right.
But we have to have a comprehensive look, not I'm going to go to the buffet of multiple possibilities and I'm going to pick the ones that might fit the agenda that I want.
Right.
If you want to look at why there is so much evil in this world, then we got to look at all the possibilities and all the reasons, and we're going to look at the root in its complete form, not parts of it that just fit an agenda that we have.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the problem. Most of the time, these things are framed in a political, with political boundaries, and you can't really even get to many times. I think the real problem, because it's a sacred cow to somebody, and they don't want it talked about.
Right, and we see that we probably just want to call these things what they are, is evil, and deal with it and work from there out.
Yeah.
Because some of these narratives make you think that if certain things were not present in this unstable person's life, then they would have just magically been stable, been no problem to anybody.
Right.
Because what you find usually, let's say for instance, somebody says, "Hey, this person acted the way they acted because they didn't have a daddy." Well, look, you've heard us talk about what we do here for men's ministry, and I do believe that there is an insult to someone's life that happens if they never had a dad in their life, or they had a dad that was horrific or whatever. However, I can also line up thousands of people that didn't have dads and had issues that were not a menace to society.
Right.
So,
right.
And I know that's just one example of what I'm talking about. There's multiple. So when we start trying to say that's the case, we have to start by holding the person who did it responsible for their own
That's
actions.
where it starts. That's absolutely where
That's where it starts. And then we can work our way out. But if you want to look at this society, we need to ask some really difficult questions on why this society continues to produce these kinds of people. And of course, you'll hear immediately we'll go to the guns immediately.
Well,
that'll be right. That's the lazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's the lazy way to do it. If somehow people had a harder time getting guns, evil people wouldn't shoot places up. You know what? That's a very, very childlike view of all this. And if you want to think that, that's your right. But you couldn't be more wrong.
Well, you're not really wanting to get to the problem. No. And you have to look at all of it. You have to look at Hollywood. You have to look at the internet. You have to look at video games. You have to look at schooling. You have to look at all of it. You got to put it all on the table and look at it. Then you might get a little better picture. But when you just say, "Oh, well, we're going," the availability of these guns are doing it, and that'll be a big stink coming out in a few days. You can count on that. It always does. We don't get anywhere on solving these problems. And, to some degree, Rick, we're always going to have issues because we have a free and open society. Now, if we wanted to be like the Chi-Coms and shut everything down and be told what to do day and night, then you could cull some of that stuff.
Yeah.
This is the Rick and Bubba Show. Watch more at blazetv.com/Rick and Bubba.
Rick and Bubba.
35 minutes past Rick and Bubba Show. Enjoying hanging out with you today, America. How are you? Thanks for being here. All right, Field of Greens. Happened yesterday. Greg, as I told you, talking to Mom, and she is saying, you're on Field of Greens. Sherry's on Field of Greens. Some of the guys on the show are on Field of Greens. And she said, I had a very, very kind, nice physical therapist going through my therapy session the other day, and she was talking about how big a fan she is of the show. And she said she saw I had my Rick and Bubba shirt on, and she asked me about it. And I told her, obviously that my sons are on the show, and da-da-da-da. And she began to tell me how much she loves Field of Greens. And then she said, you know what? I'm not feeling all that great, and I know that got all kinds of these medications everybody's been giving me, but I think I just might want to try that myself. And I said, well, done. I'll take care of that today. So if you are not with the Field of Greens program, let me tell you where you don't want to be. You don't want to be sitting there. You got a big doctor's appointment coming up. It's too late by then. And then you're thinking, I wish I had maybe paid attention to my nutrition when I was younger, and maybe I should have lived a little bit different. But here's the bottom line. Better health today, when it matters most, especially with all this other garbage we've been talking about, there's nothing that you and I can do really that helps us more than trying to be as healthy as we can be, including having a strong, robust immune system. Well, Field of Greens is the product you're looking for. Unlike any fruit and vegetable or green product out there on the market, it's not watered down extracts. Now, that's what you most commonly will find in these other products. Field of Greens is an organic superfood. It's whole fruits, whole vegetables. In fact, each fruit and vegetable was selected by doctors to support vital body functions like your heart, your liver, your kidneys. I mentioned your immune system. And only Field of Greens is back. Now, listen to this. If I don't have your attention yet, this ought to do it. They actually have a better health promise. Now, here's what that means. At your next checkup, if your doctor doesn't notice improved health, you get your money back. So don't do the, hey, I should have paid attention. Burge was talking and I wasn't listening. Go ahead and make the move. We'll get you 15% off and we'll get you free shipping. Okay? So give it a try. Go to fieldofgreens.com. Use the new promo code BIGVOX. That's BIG, V as in voice, OX. Fieldofgreens.com with the promo code BIGVOX. Save 15% today and get free shipping. There's also a link at rickandbubba.com under the sponsors button, and you will love the results. All right, so we do have a story that revolves around a couple of American icons. You know, it's been a clash of the two soft drinks in our country for as long as I can remember, Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. And we remember Pepsi finally made a move when Coca-Cola had that idiot that tried to change the formula on the Coca-Cola Classic.
That was smart.
And Pepsi moved ahead a little bit. They had the Michael Jackson thing going there.
Pepsi Challenge.
They had all the big spokespeople, and Pepsi was on the move. And did you know that Pepsi, for the first time, has lost the number 2 slot? They're only number 1 for a brief time. They dropped to their solid place of number 2, but they've now lost the number 2 slot for the first time.
To Dr.
Pepper. Which is a good drink.
Dr. Pepper.
That's a good drink.
Now, they are saying that the gap between Coca-Cola and everybody else is still extremely large.
Right.
I do think their diet drink, Diet Dr. Pepper, is the best diet drink.
I agree.
I will agree.
I
will agree as well.
It is so good.
I will. It tastes just like the original.
That's
a bit of a
just a second.
It is a close.
For just a second, then it goes.
It's the closest.
But I think it has the least amount of that
It
too.
gives you that. Yeah.
The zeros do okay, but
Yeah. And this is the big dogs. This is Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever, the diet drinks, the zeros. Once you add all that in, Pepsi still has number 2. But just for the main guys, they've lost.
You're talking about
2.
your Coca-Cola Classic, your Pepsi Original, and your Dr. Pepper Original.
Right. Yeah.
Dr. Pepper past Pepsi.
Yeah. And you know, we've kind of been through this. Dr. Pepper is
Pick the pack.
You have a Coke side and a Pepsi side, but Dr. Pepper has bounced between the two as far as their bottlers.
Yeah, that's right.
Because in some markets, Dr. Pepper would be considered a Coke product.
Correct.
In some markets, it would be a Pepsi product.
That is correct.
And I don't know how they pull that off.
Let's just get it out there.
I think it was done back a long time ago.
Let's get it out there, okay? Can anyone tell the difference between Mr. Pibb and Dr. Pepper?
I say I can.
Yes. I can tell the difference
Yeah.
between all of them.
Really? Okay.
Yes. My palate's phenomenal.
Okay.
I don't get it. Hey, listen. Let me tell you
Not
something.
trying to brag. That's
I don't do
That's just
many
what happened.
things well, Rick, but this is one of the things these people
Well,
that
I got a
say
question for you.
different. Greg,
What?
stop. Okay,
Dude,
what is wrong with
Ask you
you?
about
You really are.
Dr.
Something's
Pepper and
wrong
Mr.
with
Pibb.
Yeah. So you can take the.
I
taste it.
can.
Yeah.
Big time.
I think I could take a blind.
I'd like to do
blindfold
one of those
test.
tests.
I could
Yeah.
tell you.
I love Dr. Pepper.
I do too.
And I don't drink soft drinks much at all. But if I decide
Special
I'm
occasions. Like I said this earlier, like when Greg gets a beer from time to time, I get a diet
go.
Dr. Pepper.
How about I'll drink a soft drink probably in a month. I might drink a half of one.
Make why even bother?
I go one or two.
If that's all you're gonna do, just
I'm at the point now where I don't even finish them. I like that.
I like one or two a day.
Yeah. I don't drink soft drinks.
I like that old Coke Classic. Oh baby, that's a
Yes,
good
sir.
one.
Maybe that burn in the bottle.
In
The bottle's a best.
Put it in the ice, and it'd already be cold, and then dump it on ice.
Coca-Cola Classic in the bottle is the best soft drink ever put out there. You know,
Thank you, Bart.
Yeah,
it is.
Yes.
But I think y'all touched on something because you got Coca-Cola's with McDonald's, Pepsi is with KFC, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and I think Subway. They're going from Coca-Cola to Pepsi in 2025. But Dr. Pepper, see, they can play them all, so they're in all the fountain drinks.
Yeah. So let me tell you, are any of us to this level? I've seen these people, and I'm not talking people who don't work for the companies. I know what they do. We've seen that, Bubba.
Yeah.
But say you don't work for either company. I have seen some people that they'll go in and they'll go, yeah, I'll have a Coke, and they go, yeah, we're Pepsi. I'll just have water.
I'm one of these people.
Really, you won't go to a Pepsi?
No, I'll ask them what diet drinks they have. So if they say Diet Mountain Dew or Diet Dr. Pepper, I will go that route. But if not, then I go with like a Gatorade or even like a fruit punch drink or water.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I cannot.
Yeah, I know several people that way.
Yeah,
I'm probably not as loyal, but I don't drink it.
I'm not loyal. I can just tell the taste difference is huge for me.
Yeah, it is. I do prefer Coke. Yeah. I do over anything.
Yeah. And to your point on, I don't do this very often,
and I love.
So if
yellow.
when I do it, I want exactly what I want.
Release Mellow Yellow.
I tell you what, I can't tell the difference between Sprite and 7-Up. It's the same thing.
Well, I just picked this up. We got a Sprite here.
My palate begs to differ.
I can't tell the difference.
7-Up is sweeter tasting
to
me.
I just like saying palate.
And I don't mean that better, but it's just different.
Yeah, those two I can't tell the difference. They're interchangeable in my world.
Coca-Cola, they always let us try new flavors. And this is a Sprite cherry lime chill.
You only gonna drink half of it?
Yeah, probably. But seriously, but I saw that and I was just bored with drinking water, just bored to tears with it. I'm like, I'd like to have some little carbonation in it. I was yearning for a soft drink, and I picked this up, and it is really good. Sprite with cherry lime.
Oh, look at
It's a little silly.
Yeah. Greg, because I'm only going to bring half of it, and I'm going to leave the rest of it on your desk. That's happening.
Make a ring.
That's happening today for sure. you can count on that.
And that's going to happen.
You can count on that one. So anyway, Dr. Pepper moves into the number 2 slot.
Yeah.
First time in 20 years, and the Coca-Cola's still way ahead of everybody else.
Greg, you told me something else off air about what's interchangeable. You said you can't tell the difference between Jack and Crown.
No, that's not true. I'm not.
That's just what he said.
That's not true. He can tell the difference.
No, I'm not a whiskey. I'm not a whiskey expert at all.
I was.
It was Miller Lite and Bud Light. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're incorrect again.
Greg, I'm going to say something as if you couldn't already be more angry, Greg. As if you couldn't be more angry with me already. Okay. And because of half a can.
Those
and all
are
that.
not even close.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Speaking of palate, but I now when I'm ready to say, hey, I want something with a little caffeine in it. I want something different than drinking water. I never thought I'd be this guy. I now drink unsweet tea.
Oh,
I kind of do too every now.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah.
You believe that?
Hey, between that and dark chocolate, right?
I have done that.
Yeah,
you're right. And I'm more open to dark chocolate. I still like milk chocolate 1,000 times
be like
better.
Big Brother.
But I think I'm drinking it.
But I like eating healthy, so I go with the dark chocolate.
Yeah, right. I think I'm doing it just for the caffeine. I don't enjoy the taste of it.
No, it's not. It's like coffee.
Yeah.
You don't really like the taste of coffee. You don't.
Greg, I do.
No, I'm not talking about if you don't put all that silly stuff.
We're talking about black.
Yeah, but I don't. There's a lot of times where I just drink black.
Well, I
coffee.
do drink.
I'm
black
not saying that it's horrible, but you can't go. Boy, that's.
Well,
I mean, it's really not.
Wait a minute. How does it go?
That tastes good.
I got to tell you, Greg. There's moments I do.
Yeah, it's that palate, I guess.
Yeah,
it's that palate again.
And I drink more coffee than probably anybody, and I don't know why I drink it because it really doesn't taste good.
You don't give your palate a chance. I guess.
We'll be back. We'll wrap up with your phone calls
burn your mouth
if we dare at 866 We Be Big. More Rick and Bubba coming up next.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Yeah,
but I'm not willing to make that trade.
Well, what you then do, you trade. It is a trade. I'm glad you said trade because what you trade is my fellow citizens' have access to weapons to protect themselves, and there's going to be bad seeds in that. And I wish I could do away with that. But all you're going to do then is say, then you sit around and wait for the government to do what you don't want them to do with their guns.
Yeah,
because now you still got a gun problem. It's just it now only belongs to one group of people.
Ask the people at Tiananmen Square.
Yeah,
how that went.
Ask the people who try to have church in China what it looks like when they show up.
Yeah,
and so it's you're just trading one thing for another. And I'll take.
Did you see the people being drug out during this COVID, thrown in literal metal boxes in the back of pickup trucks? It looked like what we would call a dog box.
Yes. Yeah, it's a different deal when you sign away all your liberty and freedom to a government and say, I think they're going to take care of me. That's not the deal you want to make. But
that is an incorrect assumption.
It is an incorrect. Just for a perfect example, what we're talking about. I'm trying to find this story I have here, who actually wrote it, what the source is, and it's hard to find. But here's exactly what you're talking about. I'm going to read these statements from this shooting and back to the Boulder shooting yesterday. Okay. Here's the kind of things that they use in the story, and I noticed this just looking it over. They tell you every time somebody comments, they give you their political party, and they give you whether they are pro Second Amendment or not.
Right?
They don't just say the governor, who was a Democrat, says this. A senator who is pro Second Amendment said this. So they don't just have people that are in places of authority making comments. When the person comes to make the comment, they immediately let you know what character they play in their cartoon.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it all rolls from there.
Yeah.
So they want you to be sure you know every political affiliation, every worldview, and then what happens is you drift away from the fact that an evil man shot up a grocery store and shot a veteran in law enforcement who was trying to save people's lives.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you've drifted away from there, and it all becomes, what agenda can we use this tragedy, this massacre? What could we do with this to forward my agenda?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it turns into.
Yeah.
And then that goes back to probably one of the problems that are at the foundation. We have devalued human life. Bubba, Jamie Foxx is set to play Mike Tyson.
Jamie Foxx, outstanding actor. Is he physically built to play that role?
Well, this is where those personal trainers, when you're training for a role, they'll make you, big, they'll make you little. They'll do
Iron Mike, though, he was he was cut there.
Jamie Foxx is going to try to play Mike Tyson.
Is
That's
that his thing now? He's just going to take
people.
on the role of famous people in history.
I hope he's not like he did with Ray Charles. There was a time we had to tell Jamie Foxx, "You're not Ray Charles. You're really not Ray Charles."
He really played it solid.
He came to the Grammys, act like he was Ray Charles. Hey, Jamie, you're not Ray Charles.
Was that a good movie?
It's all right.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's a little shocking.
You hadn't seen it.
A little shocking at times.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's worth the watch if that's what you're asking. If you've never seen it and thought, I'd like to dial into it. I like Jamie Foxx. I think he does a good job.
Yeah.
So Hulu has announced it's called a Tyson miniseries to be made with his involvement.
Yeah, Hulu contacted me. I'm going to be talking about it. I'm involved.
And so it's going to be a limited series, I guess, about Mike Tyson, and Jamie Foxx has been booked to play Mike Tyson.
Is this before the Marauder?
He says,
I've been looking to tell my story for quite some time now. And I look forward to creating the series not only captures my professional journey, but also inspires and entertains.
I know
inspiring.
that they can make him look like anybody, but I tell you, Mike Tyson it'd be hard to find somebody built just like him in his heyday.
Well, because I had the black shorts and Jamie Foxx, he's going to have to get bigger. He's thicker.
Yeah, he ain't thick enough. That's right.
Thicker.
Thicker.
Muscular. Thicker.
Thicker.
Yeah.
So
he's going to have to be a marauder.
Yeah.
So but remember, you're right. Jamie Foxx sometimes clouds the. I mean, I know great actors. You saw what it made Jim Carrey crazy, though. Be careful when you pretend to be somebody to the point you think you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What was the figure that we landed on yesterday? We were talking about Mike Tyson. Was it 600 million?
600 million.
He went through.
He had won. Yeah.
And Greg said it was a one-man show tour, and he would talk about how he blew through 600 million.
Good night.
It was precarious.
And that's on Hulu?
It gets away quick.
It'd be on Hulu, not Amazon Prime.
Now, Bubba, We love this kind of talk.
We're back. 9 minutes to the top. Phone calls wrapping up the hour. Our number 866-WE-BE-BIG. Helmsy. Butch taking phone calls, and you can join us too. And lines are available if you'd like to join us. We'll start with John. John's in Odenville, Alabama. He catches the show on 104.7 WZZK. I assume. John, how do you get the show?
1047 WZZK.
I hear you. All right, what's on your mind today? Go.
I just got a question I've always wondered. I figured I'd call in and ask before y'all retire. You boys ever rip biscuits on air?
Yes, absolutely. That's happened multiple times throughout the years. I mean, some of them, are sent out as silent and deadly. Some of them, if you're really paying attention, our mics are not omnidirectional, so that hurts it being picked up on the mic. It is almost like you asking people at a shooting range, "Do y'all ever shoot?" I mean, it happens in here from the time it starts to the time it's over.
The best time is if the bed music is already rolling and people have their headphones on, and you catch one person with them off.
Oh yeah,
and you can show off for them, and then to get their reaction. That's always fun.
But don't you agree if these mics, and we wouldn't want them to be omnidirectional because we'd have a lot of feedback, but
right.
Sometimes it's hard to pick up what's happening. When
on purpose
when a cheek snake is going to the left or the right.
These are actually designed to prevent that.
You'd almost have to take the mic you're talking into, which you wouldn't want to, and put it down there where the firing's taking place. And nobody wants to do that. And then bring it back
what you're thinking out. Right? I guess that's working too hard.
Jim in Tennessee. The man asked the question. Jim, go ahead.
And what a question it was.
Yeah. This is Tim. I was wondering what you think the end game for Oprah and Bernie Sanders and all these crazy people is. Oprah has everything she has from being an American. So I just wonder what your thoughts on that are.
Well, we've talked about that, Timmy Jim, a number of times. What happens is, and it's been an ongoing phenomenon with human beings, mainly in America, they use the American system to become extremely wealthy, and then some sort of guilt kicks in.
Yeah.
And they start leaning to the left, and then they go on a weird campaign to try to change the system that enabled them, to your point, to achieve the life they've achieved, and they begin to want to deny it for other people.
Yeah, it's like climbing up in a tree and then pulling up the ladder behind you so nobody else can get up.
Yeah.
It's a strange concept, but I think it gets into really your basic understanding of why you are where you are and what you're supposed to do. I think they start believing it's them, and then they start believing their opinion, and then they start looking at their logic, and as opposed to relying on a higher standard or higher level of knowledge.
Right.
And once it becomes about me, then you can veer off on anything. As you said, Rick, the heart is the most deceitful thing. So anybody that tells you to follow your heart is not giving you very good advice. You should follow your brain.
Yeah, and logic would serve you a lot better than feelings.
Yes. Feelings will cut you short every time, leave you broke and heartbroken.
That summed that up pretty well. Nick in Boaz, Alabama. Nick, go ahead.
Hey, guys, just want to circle back to you talking about the Coke and Dr. Pepper. I used to be a Coca-Cola guy, right? When I went to a restaurant, Coca-Cola, soft drink machine, Coca-Cola. Then I got COVID in 2020, and it completely changed the way that Coke tastes, completely changed the way Sprite tastes, and now I'm Dr. Pepper guy.
Thanks,
so,
Fauci.
Wow.
No,
yeah, right. I always wondered if it happened to anybody else.
No, I actually, you remember, did you listen to the show? You might have missed it. I talked about we had some friends from church that came over to our house Friday night for dinner, and they tried to introduce us to a game that Sherry and I realized we weren't smart enough to play because they're really smart people. And the wife actually says her taste has been so impacted by COVID. She rarely just eats because she knows she needs to.
that it's messed her
Gosh,
taste
that
up.
must be a good thing.
And it's never really.
I needed just a touch of that.
Just
you know
a
what I
little
mean?
one.
Yeah,
just
I need
not a lot, just a
just
sprinkle.
a little knock off the old chip off the old block there.
But no, they remember, because part of, and I had this even when I had it. I only had the first one that I know of, and really the only symptom I had that I could identify that was odd, because the rest of it just felt like a cold, was that I lost my taste, and that was weird. But mine came back, praise God.
Yeah.
But some people, it's either been altered or it has never come back. We continue. Let's go to Andrew out of Dallas, Texas. Andrew, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, guys. Another topic on the drink topic. You guys go to a restaurant, order water. Would y'all ever go for the soda water at the fountain, carbonated water?
Never. Never.
No.
Nope.
Carbonated water at the fountain. Now it allows you to get water out of the fountain. Like usually it's
button.
Yeah, regular
usually
water.
it's a button like where the lemonade is.
It's
or
regular
something.
water,
But they have soda water too. You can
do
get
they?
sometimes. Some of them do. Not all.
Soda water.
Yeah, and I would not. Now I do drink some carbonated waters that are like canned or bottled, but I won't do that one at the fountain. No, because that one's a little rough. We continue. Let's go to Eric out of Columbus, Mississippi, 96.1. Go ahead.
Morning, boys. How are y'all?
We're great. Good.
Just wanted to ask a question. If y'all ever call the guys by their real name, do you ever call Bubba Bill? You ever call Helms Michael, Adler Chris? I mean, anything like that?
I at one time, if you go back to the early days of the show, because I knew Bubba as Bill Bussey long before I knew him as Bubba, there's a huge adjustment. I call him Bill more than Bubba in the early years. Now it's pretty much Bubba. I never call Speedy Calvin, very rarely.
I do.
And I don't call Helmsy Michael.
Not much.
Or Adler Chris.
It's just Adler.
It's very rare. Do y'all? That's kind of.
Now I've got some other nicknames for Rick, but
I normally call y'all by your real name when you're in trouble from me.
Yeah.
Well, like large, big large.
Sure, large. Yeah, I don't guess you call me Rick very much, do you?
Not much.
Okay.
Hey, Megan.
We don't call each other by our real names much at all, do we?
No.
Yeah. And I call Greg baby brother because he's my little tender baby brother.
Great.
And he also has a half a can of Sprite on his wrist right now.
I knew it.
Let's go to Andrew in Birmingham, ZZK. Andrew, go ahead.
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
Good.
Good. Hey, on the whole Coke and Dr. Pepper thing, if you take 2 parts Coke, 1 part Barley's root beer, you got Dr. Pepper. Give it a try.
Well, I just don't get Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Okay, what was that?
Seems like a lot of work.
What did he say?
2 parts Coke, 1 part Barg's root beer.
Yeah, get your root beer.
I always thought Dr. Pepper had a more of a cherry taste to it. Am
Well,
I
there is a
imagining
cherry,
that?
They do have a cherry flavor, Dr. Pepper.
But I mean, just regular Dr.
Really?
Pepper.
A little
Just
bit.
a
I
touch
can
in
see
there?
that hint.
More than a vanilla, because root beer is vanilla.
Do you like root
Yeah.
beer?
I do sometimes as a
I
change
love
up.
it. I don't like it with a
Now,
meal.
if you got it on top of ice cream, you got you.
Well,
something.
now
you got
Huh?
Yeah, the root beer float is about as good as it gets.
Because
Like
it's
them
the
IBCs.
same. It's the same flavor. You don't realize root beer is vanilla until you put it on vanilla ice cream.
Barks, man, in
I
the
like
bottle.
the
You kidding
IBC.
me?
What about the IBC in that
IBC,
dark
baby, in that bottle. Yeah.
And there's a German one. I can't think the name of it. It's real
Schlick-
good. Yeah.
That's
That's not what it is, Greg.
Greg, buddy. I don't know what you said. He's going to do a schnitzel joke if we don't get out of here.
Yeah,
All
that's about it. Time to go.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba. Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Pass the gravy, please.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Ooh, it brings me to my knees.
Rick and